10,000 hours is a steep mountain to climb to become a master, especially when the task at hand puts a relentless demand on your body. There is nothing casual about this sport. It's all in, all effort, all focus. It takes a lot from you, but the reward is unmatched. Mastery of oneself, an acute understanding of your weaknesses with an explosive sense of your strengths. Being able to complete the climb to mastery requires the proper nutrition. This is why it's important to take in a potent blend of electrolytes that is in tune with your output and brings strength to your goals. This potent blend is only found in Salt Electrolytes. Salt targets your depleted electrolyte levels with a boost of hydration and health. It gives your body the baseline recovery it needs.
What is up, ladies and gents? It is your friendly neighborhood BJJ podcaster, RAF ESPARZA, coming to you with a special installment of the Bullpen. We're actually doing a fight companion for tonight's big UFC Fight Pass Invitational number 9. I already see we have some friends joining us. What's up, Jesse? I hope you're having a good day. Not too good. I don't want you getting too good at jiu-jitsu. Come on, slow down. But for the rest of you guys, I hope it's good. There have already been 2 matches that have happened. We'll get into those, a little bit of a recap, but if you're just joining us right now, don't worry, you haven't missed too much. There's plenty of action. You're just in time for Damian Anderson, which, by the way, what are they doing with this camera where they're doing all this? I know I saw the little thing for Mikey where he's like, what do I do with my hands? But I literally just saw Damian Anderson pawing at the camera. So I don't think they know what they're doing for grapplers just yet. Maybe it's just me. Eek. Anyway, I need answers. I'm going to go to my longtime friend, yours as well. One, Tim Freeman, what the hell are they doing on that camera?
I don't know, but we don't have the sound, but if they coupled it with the ba, 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 the old school UFC fight song, then that would have been perfect. I think that's the jiu-jitsu guy's version of like the guy punching. But it's like, we don't punch, but we put our hands up. So I don't know, man. Or maybe it was something else. Maybe they explained it.
Listen, I have no understanding of what it is they're trying to do. But I can tell you, I'm excited that you're here. We'll be watching all of the remaining matches coming up right now. It is very interesting to have this kind of like as one of the last things the UFC is doing for the year. Like, I would have been at a Christmas holiday party or doing other things, but yet they said we're going to have one tonight. I said I'll make time. How about you?
Yeah, same. I was on my way to Mar-a-Lago. I had to cancel the trip.
Yo, big shout out to our homie Gianni, who just won at Up Next Fighting. I see he is watching right now. I hope he's having a great day. You know, Gianni's one of those people who could be in contention for being in the UFC for the fight region, but his jiu-jitsu is not bad either. So big shout out to him. Congratulations to the champ. Much love to him. I got to cover that fight this past weekend, and it was very stellar. Like, it's great to see him doing big things. So hope you are enjoying your day, sir. But to the rest of you guys, I see we just got a note here from the Daily Stack that said, what's up? To you, I say, not much, honestly. Like, we're kind of in a chill moment here, sir. So it's been a very relaxed day. I hope that you guys are enjoying this. And if you're finding us for the first time, my name's RAF ESPARZA. This is Tim Freeman. It's part of our usual group, and we've got many people showing up as we're going here. And I see this, and it says, Heidi Ho, this is from Egghead. I'm watching as well. Written in the most Egghead-like fashion, by the way.
Howdy ho.
Like, it's not many people that you're going to find in this jiu-jitsu world that are going to speak like Ned Flanders, but lo and behold, if anybody's going to do it, it's going to be Egghead. And I see Christos Papadelos is also in the comment section. Yo, back to you, sir. It is a great day. Christos, it'll be very interesting to see what things are coming up from you. I see you partnering up with the PGF as the official qualifiers. That is fascinating to watch. So Enigma, look out for that, guys. The very first installment of the PGF qualifiers happening on January 11th. So think about your weight now for glory later, I guess is what I'm saying.
Is that in Decatur? The
That
first
is in
one?
Decatur.
Wow.
Yeah.
Nice.
You know, it's
Might be able to make
see
that.
Damian back in the jiu-jitsu realm. I've gotten so used to him being in a cage now. And you see Nicky Rod over there, as denoted by his 12 chains that he's wearing.
And his briefcase full of money.
I see a note here from Uncle Jesse, and we'll get to this question here in a second. But we'll start off with the action. Damian Anderson, Sandri Silva. Is that what we say his name? Sandray or Sandre?
I think it's Sandri. Let's go with Sandri. Let's change the A.
Like
Let's do a swerve. Yeah. I like that.
Because they basically just said, any Brazilian who wants to fight an American, you're on this card.
Yeah, pretty much. What do you think about? It looks like they're wearing UFC Fight Pass like new kits here.
Mm-hmm. So this is similar to what they've been wearing. They do have that little stripe on the back of them.
Yeah,
that always kind of throws me off, because every time I see them wearing the stripes like that, it makes me feel like it's tape that they didn't take off of the back of someone's rash guard. And you saw over there, Damian was like, yo, this dude did not get a single leg on me. Let's reset back to the center.
Every time I see those stripes, go ahead.
No, I'm sorry. The question that we got from Uncle Jesse was Chambers versus Gracie. Who do you think comes up with the hand raised? So that's a good question.
Yeah.
Tim. Do you want to field that one?
Yeah, well, I mean, I think it depends on if Jonnatas can shut Kyle Chambers down, especially if he can get a body lock that he can sustain. I think he has a good chance of winning that fight. I don't know if he's going to tap Kyle Chambers. I think that's not easy to do, but I could see him potentially winning that way. But if Chambers can keep him away, I think he has a real chance at getting a submission. We'll see. Gracie's got a real heavy guard passing game.
Speaking of guard passing right now, it looks like Damian Anderson is working to pass Silva's guard, and Silva trying to elevate here, take one of the legs. Damian Anderson too quick for it. Maybe in on a front headlock, was looking for a guillotine, does not quite get that. There's 4 minutes and 7 seconds on my clock right now. And just so you guys are aware, there is no points in this portion. So in regulation, there's no points. However, you can get stalling calls or penalties, and if that happens, that's what you're going to see as points going up there. So the points only come into play in the overtime region, just as a heads up for that.
What is the overtime? I feel like FPI kind of screws around with the rules every show.
So I think on this one, they go into points and they say, all right, once we get into overtime, if you have negatives, you have to work your way back to a positive score. So that's first. And I like that, like, nice little attempt there to scissor jump by Damian Anderson, who doesn't quite get it, but there's 3:17 left to work. He'll be playing from bottom inside of an open guard. Meanwhile, Silva now gets the opportunity to pass, and Silva I'm so sorry, Damian Anderson may have found his way to a little bit of a reap here. He's stalled here for just a second. And this is a note from Egghead who says, yes, the first 2 matches did go to ref decision. So nothing too crazy there. Normally that's not a great position to lose the leg like that, but Damian usually re-chambers very well and uses it to kind of stand up. And
he crossed it over well too.
Into the audience section. So
just a little shove.
It's okay. Just as long as he was saying, maybe you want to take a seat right now, buddy. You're a little tired. I want to help you out.
Those look like bicycle rider rash guards, like has a reflective stripe on the back of it.
100%. That's it, Tim. I was wondering. I was like, I haven't had it yet, and I've seen that rash guard at a few of the Fight Pass Invitationals, but they are 100% on bikes trying to beat Lance Armstrong in the Tour de France.
Yeah, in rash guards and shorts. That'd be funny.
So, yes, thank you for that, Egghead Warrior. And just to answer your question here, Uncle Jesse, because you and I both know Kyle Chambers, I'm going to say he's going to win. That's it. There's nothing else to Senor Gracie, and no disrespect to him. It's just, I mean, he's our guy, so I'd like to see him win because that would make him less angry. Although I think, Jesse, you'd be very interested to know the wonderful deal I struck up with Kyle Chambers on the very last day of the PGF. We'll get more into that a little bit later, but for right now, we'll continue to tease this out. 1:45 left to go on my clock. A little bit of a mercy game here. A pull down on the head by Damian Anderson. And, you know, Tim, it's very interesting. You start getting the sense we may, front headlock again attempt. He's trying to pull down on that. You can see the Muay Thai training coming in handy here for Damian Anderson. Yeah, I would ask you this. Nope. Going into Bill Goldberg's cousin, James Goldberg, over there, trying to block him off.
That's a stand-in.
Tim, I was going to ask you, do you get the sense that we're probably heading into overtime on this one?
Probably. I mean, I don't feel like there's very much stalling. They're both athletes are getting after it, but Anderson seems to be a little closer to actually making something happen. Sandri's looks like he's quite a bit taller than Damian. I haven't seen them both stand up straight, but it could be somewhat of an issue for him.
Completely
So
fair.
in overtime, they go on points, huh? That's the way they're running it.
Yes. Ooh.
Yeah.
Now you're seeing
Okay.
Silva try to attack the leg here. He's short on time, but Damian unbothered by it because he has his own reap here. So we'll see how Damian is able to play the last 30 seconds here. Silva, I think, turned himself aggressively into an opportunity for Damian, but doesn't keep the leg. Instead, opts to stand back up, and they once again go right back into the crowd. And that dude needs to look up. And the drummer of the Red Hot Chili Peppers, not fazed by it right there.
Pay attention, Chad. Yeah, just chilling.
I saw a comment come in here. I'll get to it in just a second, but we want to say howdy to you guys. We will be joined by our friend KEVIN SHERRILL, who's getting out of doing teaching duties tonight. So he is getting home from training. We will see him momentarily, but I do see a question here. We'll address it very shortly and then get back to the proceedings, likely in overtime here in just a second. And the question is, what's their favorite overtime format for this? So I want to understand this question. I don't know that I do. I'll come back to it momentarily, and I'll go to this one instead. Did Mikey Musumeci fight already? No, he is the main event. So you can always
they make him fight first.
You can always tell the people who come from Twitch because they're very direct about did he go yet? I didn't show up and I have no idea what's going on, but I'll say it loudly. Did he go yet? Because I don't know. He's not gone yet, sir. So you're still good. Let me come back to one more. And it says, is Tim wearing a Netflix hat?
Yeah, I'm sponsored by Netflix now, so I think the red in and the red bill gives off the Netflix vibe.
I appreciate it. I mean, listen, dude, if we were sponsored by Netflix, this would be significantly more pesos in our accounts.
Yeah. Anything I can do to is that Tim Pool in the first row back there?
I think that might be actually. Yeah, could be.
Nah, I was just being sarcastic. That's one of the body catchers.
Whatever. Kevin is finishing up his facial appointment. I mean, listen, dude, that's his brand. Don't hurt the brand. If handsome Kevin is not handsome, then maybe he's not on the show anymore. Did your stream freeze by any chance, Tim? Mine did, but it came back. All right.
No, mine's good. What time? I'm at 3:29.
3:29?
Yeah, on the clock.
Oh boy. You are ahead of me, sir. It was buffering for me, so now I'm going to have to try and make this work. And it says you guys have pesos in your account. I mean, some of us brown people do, sir.
Yeah, I'll take them.
And it says, I was asking what the overtime format was. There we go. That question I actually understand. So it's points. So when they get to a certain time allotment, they then go into points, and essentially it's just regular, like, Jiu-jitsu, if you get mount, I think it's 4. I think back control is 4. I'm not exactly sure if they have fight pass points, which, by the way, is really the branding we need to be doing. That was a fight pass.
Yeah, it's all Fight Pass trademarked.
100%. Dude, trademark to whatever it is. Go ahead, sir.
I thought they used like a modified ADCC like rule set, but I can't remember.
I think it is kind of that, but it's also like you can't just blanket call something an ADCC rule set. Like, just because you use points doesn't mean like, oh, it's ADCC. You go, wait, no, other things use points too. If that's the case, they're gonna be like, they're using the IBJJF overtime rule set. It's like, I don't know. It's just they're using points. God damn it, that's all they're doing.
Yeah.
So I saw my stream stall out a little bit. I might switch on over to my my phone here in a second. But to those of you tuning in, if you have questions, comments, concerns, hints, allegations, hit us up. We're happy to take.
Let's see, Anderson's up by 2 now. He just scored and he just mounted.
Let me mute that real quick. Sorry if you guys picked that up. You can tell.
Oh, he's got Sandri Silva's back now, and he's hand fighting. He might get this choke. He's got a minute and a half.
That's no bueno. Damian Anderson is one of the most lethal jiu-jitsu competitors.
Oh, that's in.
With him over at B Team, dude, he is one of those beasts, and I think you are correct, Tim. As we're watching the time start to elapse here, I see another comment from Egg. I'll get to it in 1 second. And it says, yes, we got that one. If you say ADCC, Flow will file a copyright claim. You know, honestly, not super worried about Flow filing things. And here's why. I think that Flow has their own issues that they have to address. Perhaps the first of which being excitement. And Damian Anderson pulling a Nicky Rod saying, damn this rash guard. I am ready to show you guys I have been working out. And, you know, he's looking a little bit bigger right now. He is. So good on him, man.
Also, he did the whole, we're both like, trying to read his lips. We're like, what's B-Max saying right now?
They're also in the process of putting on a little bit of that tamale weight. So I will put myself on mute. Well, no, I don't think I can do that. Shit. That's a great question here. You're going to have to be a little bit more of the guesstimator on what he is saying here, Tim.
Yeah, he probably said, walk us through what happened. How you feeling, boy? Woo, that was a good win.
I don't think he goes that far in deliverance. He's a little smoother than that. Oh my gosh, that was like the craziest thing I've ever seen. Can you walk us through this footage that our nice commentary crew put together for you?
Look at this guy. By the time he's 65, he's gonna have the Bill Clinton smooth, because that's where he's going. He's headed that way with his drawl and his word usage, and it's fun to watch.
It's also when you know he's about to kiss babies and whatnot, and it's just like, oh my God. Especially, listen, his take on Arby's was 100% me watching him and going, this dude's gonna run for president. Like, no one needs a take on Arby's unless they're trying to win the Midwest vote.
Yeah.
So if you're trying to get that Heartland vote, just saying. All right, Damian Anderson, Jersey Shore fist bump to the crowd. They're pointing where he needs to go. He seems slightly confused as he walks up, hand raised. So that is already the first match. We will be seeing Giovanna and Maggie coming on to the stage here in just a second. But Tim, do you have any notes or things that you have been observing from this event thus far in? As was mentioned a little bit earlier, there was one match or two matches that we did miss that did go to decision.
Yeah, I caught the tail end of Pixley's match, and he lost by -3 points, which is not super amazing. Like, you know, you want to see the matches where there's scores and submissions. But I'm not sure if his opponent was gaming the system, because you see that a lot in judo. You see it in Greco where they force penalties, or if those were legitimate penalties. So I just caught the tail end of it. But usually you don't see matches like that on Fight Pass Invitational. They usually end up with somebody scoring or somebody getting a sub. So
I'm intrigued to see how the rest of this day is going to play, because we're now in a space where when you did have a kind of rough who's number one experience yesterday, I feel like it just leveled the playing field to really hit a double and probably beat it.
yeah, I think so.
I don't think you need to hit a home run on this one. I think if you hit a double, you beat what we saw yesterday.
Yeah, and I think there's a benefit to going last, where that's kind of like the last impression that's in everyone's minds. And look, I thought Gordon Ryan was going to be a commentator tonight. He probably will be, maybe for the main card. But you get him here, and you get Mikey Musumeci, and now it's like everybody wants to see this. One of the first comments we got was like, "Has Musumeci gone yet?" So, I mean, it's a pretty good look for them already. And I don't want to dogpile on who's number one. It's just, I love jiu-jitsu, so I watch it, and I still get something out of it. But just from the straight, like, hey, Dad, I want you to sit down and watch this grappling event with me, it was a little on the rougher side. There's some room for improvement there.
It was definitely rough, and I tried to enjoy it. Like, I don't think any of us really try to watch these events to shit on it. We just kind of watch to go like, oh, will this be interesting? Oh, it's not. Okay. And then you just kind of get a little bummed. You're not mad at anybody. You just think to yourself, man, I wish this was kind of a little bit better tonight. So I think that's more of where it comes from. It's not us just being like, man, I can't wait for who's number one to suck tonight. It's like, well, I'm hoping for the best. And then as it's not super entertaining, I'm just kind of indulging it and thinking, all right, I guess this is what we're doing here tonight. A couple more comments I see in the section here, and it says the Heartland vote. That's Dairy Queen and Pizza Hut land. You would think so. But I feel like I have gone out with enough Midwesterners who have gotten them some Arby's and won't back down from some big beef and cheddars. So I think they call that the silent majority there, Egg. So maybe you need to check your stats on that one. But I think the Heartland would enjoy themselves. Pizza Hut's already, I mean, listen, you said pizza. That's half of it. But if it was the old school Pizza Hut, like the 80s version of that, like that's where you need to canvas. Man. And I got a note here from Egg also that said, Pixley seems tired. Well, he's not in the camera anymore, so it's kind of weird to talk about him in the past.
Yeah, was he like sitting down, snoozed out in the crowd or something?
It's just, maybe we're just commentating on people being like, I mean, he could use a siesta is what we're getting at here. So I don't know. We'll come back to that one in a few. But if you're watching, again, this is the Bullpen. We do shows every week where we do a little bit of a countdown on the different major topics. We'll have an installment tomorrow, but there's a pull to guard here, Tim, that I see. And, I think I'm a little bit behind you on this one. So mind telling me what you're seeing on your side.
Both athletes are standing up. It looks so that, they're doing a lot of collar ties and counters off of it, but it looks like Giovanna has been the aggressor here for most of the match. Maggie's tried to pull. She's cleared the collar tie a few times with like a Russian style 2-on-1, trying to get that, but Giovanna's followed up with a counter collar tie quite a bit. So we'll see. I don't know if pacing is going to be an issue for either athlete. Like at a certain point, there's another guard jump. Maggie's going to get tired dealing with having to counter the aggressive push of Giovanna. But we'll see. You never know. Sometimes the athlete that's aggressing looks really good, and you get deep into the round, and you get where there's a couple minutes on the clock, and then they start getting tired.
The note from Egghead, he clarified his comment, and it said he seemed tired during his match, not firing off. I mean,
no, too late. You said it.
It's just, hey man, I don't know. I can't answer for you. I think I'll say this. I feel like if you're competing at like a December 5th card, it's probably like one of the last events that you can probably compete on, aside from like Jiu-Jitsu Overdose that's happening this next week or so. I think you
Wow.
probably had a rough year, dude.
The action's getting pretty hot here. Giovanna almost pulled off an arm lock on Grindada Lira, and Maggie countered it, actually got out of it, and is on the back now with the crab ride, and they're resetting him to the middle. And it looks like she might come up on top with a pass. Let's see. Oh, Giovanna ended up on top and guard. We'll see if she can pass now.
All right. What is the time on your counter there, sir?
There's 2 minutes and 50 seconds.
All right. Now we're back on. So I just did a reset on mine. Tim, you
Nice.
probably are better at reading things in the Portuguese. So I will give this one to you.
Donde se ve?
Mm-hmm.
Where's it at?
We? Yeah.
Where are we?
I don't know. That's kind of the best interpretation I can give of that. What I can tell you is this is what, the 4th match that we're watching right now of the event.
Yeah.
So
yeah, and we got Ryan Aiken coming up next match, which I'm stoked.
To Tomas, you might see up in this corner over here, I very kindly for you put up the card where we're at. In the description, it has the full card. So wherever that falls on the description, we're there. I think that should help. If it doesn't, I'm not apologetic.
Yeah. If you come to here and then you ask where we're at in another language, we're doing our best, man.
Like, I barely know where we're at in English, let alone in Espanol or in the Portuguese, because brain, one language, not dos. Speaking of which, there's now an attempt to take this leg here from Maggie on bottom. Giovanna.
Yeah, and that's looking tight.
Giovanna is just indifferent to it, though. She's literally just lackadaisically kicking off with the other foot. And now has a counter of her own here, Tim, and didn't really have much to go off of there, so gives up on it. Ooh, wow. You know, it pays to have a good poker face there, but Maggie ultimately comes up with the win and gets the first submission of the event. And I gotta tell you, didn't love Giovanna putting a lot of weight on that leg as she went to stand up.
Yeah, she put herself in a bad spot. And, you know, maybe the first heel hook that Maggie threw at her wasn't tight. You know, maybe she felt like she had some room, and she kind of just like stoically like looked it off. She literally looked the move off. She just looked at it and it went away. But she was a little lackadaisical in actually clearing her knee and getting out of there. And Maggie slapped another one on, which was quite a bit tighter because Giovanna had to tap pretty quickly. She didn't take that one too long. She did not look. She looks pretty upset at that result. She probably feels like she got caught there, which I get it, man.
Hey, listen, nobody likes getting caught. I think that's the thing we all relate to. It's just, it's hard to do it when you're on camera as well. So I do feel that. I do understand that. It's just, yikes, you know?
Yeah. I think I'm going to come back in, man. I'm getting super laggy.
Okay. All right. We'll see you in just a second. Tim Freeman taking a moment to jump off. He'll jump back on here in just a few moments. But while I got you guys, thanks to you for watching. We appreciate you guys. We hope you're having a great Thursday evening. We are watching us some UFC Fight Pass Invitational number 9. I will be joined again by Tim here in a second. And a little bit later, we'll see our good friend KEVIN SHERRILL making his way on over here after he gets home from teaching. He's got a big trek. Like, he actually has to make some pretty big distance when he goes back and forth between his events. But I do see Tim is back in the stream. So Tim, you know, I think I'm gonna have to ask you guys probably to hear what's happening here, because mine is tied into the actual road.
Oh, I gotcha.
That would send it to the audience, since you guys are technically part of that connection. But I'll go ahead and take this one off. If you guys have questions, comments, concerns, hints, allegations, hit us up in the comment section. I will be keeping eyes and ears on them all throughout the evening. You're seeing us address a number of the different questions coming in, but Ryan Aiken is coming up next in case you have any wonder where we are in the card, or if you just want to show up and say, where we at? That is where we at. I always
let's see if I can turn it up.
This exploration, because it always is a big thing to try and figure out how to spell most of these names. So if I get them wrong, my apologies in advance. But how do you think you're supposed to say Ryan Aiken? Like, how would you spell Ryan Aiken's opponent's last name? So how would you spell Gabriel's last name?
Almeida. I would take the I out. Just be Almeida.
I mean, it's what it is, but look at this. I'm putting this over your face.
Almeida.
Right now. It's the I before E rule that sometimes has me do a pause. Almeida. I did correct. Okay, God. The nervousness. Yeah. And it says, okay, sorry, going to watch the show now. Okay, thank you.
All right. Well,
that's a very odd way of telling people I'm not going to watch you anymore. I'm going to go watch the real thing, which, ouch. But nonetheless, we're also watching the real thing. So you could put us on, because I know that Tim alluded to the fact that Gordon Ryan was supposed to be doing commentary. He is doing commentary. I don't know if he's on every single match, but he was definitely on the first match. So the question.
Oh, he was on the first match. Okay.
For sure was on the first match. But I don't know if he's on the other matches, and it's all the more reason to do commentary. But you're seeing right here, out there, that's a very powerful front row. You had Cody Steele, a Tackett brother, and just like, I'm not sure. I think both Tacketts are there. I think that Andrew and William are both out that way. And it does look like William's just coming off a nice little road trip journey. And speaking of coming off things, you got the PGF winner, Ryan Aiken, joining Fight Pass Invitational here tonight. A great opportunity for him, a great sign if he's going to be somebody that gets to an exclusive contract. But I'd be interested to see what he does next, because they alluded to the idea of some exclusive contract signings in the near future here, Tim.
Yeah, they have. I mean, he'd be one of the guys to get for certain. And I wonder how that changes the landscape of all the promotions if the UFC snaps up a bunch of dudes. Like, that makes it a little rougher. You have to, I guess, start building another star. But Aiken's been on a serious run, man.
Yep. Oh boy. Unfortunately, I have been updated. We will not be seeing handsome KEVIN SHERRILL tonight. So our apologies go out to him and to you, all two of you, I'm sure, who were very concerned that we would see him tonight. But he is unfortunately deceased for the evening.
Deceased for the evening. I like that.
I mean,
I hope you die for the evening.
No, I didn't say I hope he died. It's just the message I see here says he dead just for tonight. So we wish him a speedy recovery from whatever happened to him. But nonetheless, looks like we're about to see Ryan Aiken, Gabriel Almeida happening right now.
Yeah, Ryan pulls guard immediately, which is not really, I mean, that's his game. If there's no penalty for doing that, he's going to do it.
And you get the impression that Ryan feels super comfortable. I think, obviously, if he's pulling guard, he's going to look to attack the leg of Gabriel. And probably that is off of it. He's already looking for these sweeps here. Don't see anything just yet. But if you've watched anything from a Ryan Aiken match in the past, you know that he can go from 0 to 100 very quickly.
Yeah, he really can. And once he gets into a dominant position, he's super hard to get away from.
Absolutely.
He's been super dedicated to his training too. Like, he's got his life lined up.
Yes, he does. Okay.
In a way where he's
okay. Let me see what is happening there. Tim, what is up, Honduran Warrior? By the way, to the homie Honduran Warrior, you and I were sitting right next to each other up next fighting, and I rudely didn't say hello. I realized that after the fact. I hope that you had a great up next experience. You obviously are in the future, I'm sure, going to be interviewed by us here at the Grappling Hour. It's always wild to go from like
Aiken.
Well, no, just always wild is literally be at an event, be doing work, and then later after the fact, like look around at who you were sitting next to or who you were talking to, and then being like, oh, dude, I interviewed that dude after his win in the cage. And we were just sitting next to each other, and I didn't say hi. I hope I was not rude.
Well, sometimes you just meet people at certain events, you know what I mean? And then maybe you don't see them for a while and you see them at another event and they're like, I'm with cooler people now.
I mean, I can tell you this much. I was not doing cooler things. I was very much back at work. So I was literally just back to taking photos and back to incredibly fast work. So not a huge surprise.
No, I feel you, dude.
Never seen me work, but it's always nice to say. And not much has changed in the first minute or so of the match. You know, you still get over here and see Ryan Aiken playing bottom. Gabriel, the checkmat international, if you would, competitor, trying to get a pass here, but now trying to pass off the knees, which I think will probably be pretty hard with Ryan Aiken, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, going to be super difficult.
And Tim, I think the nicest part for us is you got to see Ryan Aiken at PGF. He was incredibly dominant at that event. Like, what do you think for him in terms of being on this show and now becoming kind of the showcase performer for stuff that is airing on the Fight Pass network?
You know, I think it's great for him. I think this is what he wants, and this is what he's been working for. And so, you know, I think it's a huge boost. I think winning PGF Season 7 in such a dominant fashion was probably a huge confidence boost and just like a confirmation that what you're doing is working, that it's right, you know, which is huge when you go into any kind of combat situation or combat sport. Coming out with confidence is a major factor.
Would very much agree to that. I'm going to go ahead and make sure that this is all tuned in. We will actually also be streaming to some new locations here in just a second. I was just informed that our Twitter was not up, so I'm going to actually have that go out to there and our Facebook here. So if you guys are going to be tuning in on those locations, you are free to go check us out on Facebook, on the Instagram, on like we're essentially on everywhere, Tim. That's kind of the blanket statement of this whole show is just wherever else.
We need like one new platform that we all agree is the platform. Like from here on out.
The issue we have now is everybody's so segmented. They're like, nah, man, I'm rocking with X until I die. And you go, no, you're not.
Yeah.
The minute they start charging you to use it, you're out.
Yeah. Right. Exactly. I mean, that's pretty much it. What it really boils down to.
All right. Let me just double check here on my descriptions. I saw Facebook's were having issues. That one's all right. All right, good. We should be good. I'm going to send this stream on out over there, and then we're good to go. So, boom. All right, 1:10 left to go. Not too much out of the norm from what we've seen. I mean, this was kind of the tale that happened a little bit on a couple PGF matches when Ryan was really well matched up with a couple of different competitors, where you got the sense that, like, it was not easy to try and get wins on Ryan Aiken by any extent. He pretty much ran the gauntlet about as perfect as you can, but there were a couple times where Ryan just couldn't quite find the submission on a couple guys.
Yeah, it does happen. But man, it's so hard to tap this dude. He's not an easy. He has a great guard, right? He's super dangerous off his back, so that already puts him where he wants to be. PGF Season 7, I think he scored half of his team's points.
Yeah, for sure.
Which is insane. Like that, and his team had a lot of points. He had like over 40 points, I think. And the ref's going to stand him up. Or is he stopping it? Oh, that was time. I see what happened. It'd be interesting to see how they both approach overtime.
Well, now that we're at points, I do wonder if he does take any deductions, if he pulls guard or anything to that effect. You know what's weird is this, for whatever reason, they don't necessarily do a point explanation. Perhaps they've done them in the past, but I do feel like for this particular opportunity, for this event, it is kind of important because they always get to this whole idea of like, this is sub only until it's not. And when it's not, yikes.
Yeah.
We don't know how it
I
works.
think in the very beginning, they kind of show like they do on a MMA card. They're like, and the rules of the cage
no,
are.
for sure.
And
That
then
was
it's
not
like,
on here either. That was not happening.
no.
Nope.
Oh, snap. Here
Not
I am
tonight.
trying to give him the benefit of the doubt.
Nope. Listen, I paid attention quite nicely to the beginning of this broadcast, and they were very much like, this is incredible. Also, overtime, that won't happen. And then once they get there, you're like, well, here we are. How does this work? And then people ask us, and I'm like, I think I have a general idea, but I cannot tell you for sure this is exactly how it works out. So that is our way. And to friends joining us from Twitter, hello. We hope that you're enjoying your day. We are in the middle of watching UFC Fight Pass Invitational. You're currently watching Ryan Aiken versus Gabriel Alameda. And you know, that was probably one of the better elevations that we've seen out of Aiken. He was able to get a little bit of that foot on the inside of the thigh. It didn't quite move him all the way up, but Gabriel had to react very quickly out of that.
Yeah, Aiken's getting an underhook on Gabriel's far arm, whatever his cross arm is, to the leg that he's kind of trying to elevate. But Gabriel's been really good at it, kind of dealing with that and not letting his elbow get to it. So he went right back on it again. Every once in a while, he throws his leg over. I don't know if he's feinting to elevate Gabriel or if he's actually trying to step over and get some kind of shoulder lock or arm lock. Because when he throws the leg over, he's not necessarily elevating his hips, so it could be a decoy.
So when they did talk about it,
pass.
They did mention verbally, I believe it's TJ that said they go into a point system for overtime. And they just kind of say, like, you go into a point system. The question here is, what happens if there are no points? And let's say, who's being the aggressor here? Do you say that Gabriel, in the attempts to pass, has been more aggressive? Like, it is interesting to see what the specific thing that you're looking for in this overtime is.
Yeah. Because I'm assuming they go to judge's decision if there's no winner. I'd like to see a format where there's three overtimes. There's like, it could be EBI, it could be points, or it could be, say, something else. And then the athletes don't know when they start the match what the overtime format will be. It's randomized. So that way they can't game the match and go like, I'm going to stall for EBI overtime, or I'm going to, like, you don't freaking know what it is. It could be a power slap, could be one. Like one in every 1,000 is power slap.
That's pretty funny. I like the idea of like, shit, I pulled sumo.
Right.
All of a sudden you go to like a gi match. You're like, wait, why are we putting on jackets right now? I didn't sign up for this. Ryan Aiken, though,
Aiken's on the back.
He is on the back. I mean, that was a good reversal of fortune there for him. So now it's looking a little bit more promising. He's got 2 points and maybe getting more here, question mark. This is interesting to denote what exactly is happening here.
Well, it looks like he got 2 points. So you get 2 points for a pass.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if he went back into the guard. I didn't catch it, or if Almeida recovered, because he might be trying to get 2, pass points now.
Very interesting, Tim. We're now in the place of just 1 minute left. Aiken ahead by 2. And it does look like it is kind of that game of inches. So it does look like, I would like to bring this up. So I realize now that part of the reason why I cannot hear what is going to be said is because you can only stream this in one destination. Like, I'm the same person trying to watch on my phone and on my computer. And UFC Fight Pass goes, nah, bud, you can't do both.
Oh,
This
yeah.
is not like I'm giving it to somebody to go watch my stuff. This is me at my own home. And it's like, you just put on another broadcast. I go, yeah, dude, because I don't want to have it broadcast to everybody here, you dick. But I do want to, oh, Ryan Aiken going to cover the mouth here in the last 15 seconds. Maybe trying to shoot up just a quick ankle lock attempt. Not doing. It does look like we will expire the time as he smiles up at the camera. And Tim, that will do it for this match between Ryan Aiken and Almeida here. And it does look like Aiken's going to pick up the overtime by points.
Yeah, I think Aiken probably wanted to get the submission, but Almeida's tough to submit. It's a good match,
it actually
though.
came down to having a little bit of that wrestling. It does. They make things very interesting there. We do have a note here from friend of the show, one Jake Watson, who says, I think we should use the 3 CG rule set. If you don't win by 11 points, it goes to golden score. And
what is 3 CG?
Third Coast Grappling.
Oh, snap.
Do you remember that, Tim? That was a time during the pandemic. It was a wild time. They used to put on a bunch of different matches. Some of the most prevalent being, I think they had the Rotolos. They had Jimenez in that one too. Like, they definitely had some top tier talent. But I don't know that the model was sustainable for them. And I've seen people complain about what there was back then. What's up, Charles Oliveira? But I also didn't know the actual truth because there was no actual reporting of it. They just said, like, I don't think they have any money. And I go, that probably checks out. So I would love to hear more about it in the future. I do not have any accountability in terms of reporting for that.
We should raise some money and make a documentary about all the defunct grappling promotions, like all the ones that tried and like went to the graveyard. It'd be fascinating, dude.
Jake follows up by saying, let the record show I'm being facetious. Now, I'm glad you said that, Jake, because to be honest, I didn't remember what the rule set was. The golden score, an interesting proposition, but I don't know if you've ever watched certain football games. Certain football games are great because sometimes you don't even get both teams that have possession. They literally go, did you score on a field goal? Sounds good. Let's go home. So,
yeah.
I see this from Dan Furlong, and it says, this rule set is so boring and the mat is so small. I mean, Dan, I don't know what to tell you. I don't mind that the mat is that small, honestly, because we've seen what people do when you give them big mats. They still manage to make it an absurdly dumb space. So I don't know that we need to be giving people a giant space.
Decent size.
This is a perfectly good size. I think
that Dan might be
coming from the world of, like, when it's in the Apex Center, the cage is way different, man. You have to fight way different in that Apex Center. I don't want to fight. If I had my choice, I'd be fighting for a pay-per-view. It's like, well, dude, you're going to fight wherever Dana tells you to fight. That's the first.
Yeah, and you'll like it.
But let me go ahead and change out the branding here. We got a fan favorite, Mrs. Canuto, over there. And, of course, you see her husband, Mr. Canuto, in the corner with the bucket. He'll be on a little bit later, but making the appearance to corner his wife first. Raquel first up, representing Hybrid Jiu-Jitsu out of Vegas. And they always bring a huge, huge part of their team to come watch this festivity, Tim.
Yeah, they're super, super popular in Las Vegas. And they're awesome. I mean, Raquel's been on a run lately. She's been wrecking people. And Renato is one of the best dudes I've met on the jiu-jitsu scene in a long, long time. He's a real cool dude. Seems like a nice guy. I've only had positive interactions with him, and he's super fun to watch. So, that's a bonus. I think the knock on the rule set is not the rule set. It's the overtime. Because it gives athletes a chance to kind of kick the can down the road. Like, well, if I can't get it now, I'm going to catch them in overtime. Yeah. If there's no overtime, or overtime is so severe that you're afraid of it, then, you'll see more action in the actual match.
I also think it's interesting that most of the times these things are just experiments, like put out live for your entertainment. And sometimes we don't know how they're going to act. Like sometimes I think they create a rule set. They go, I don't know, let's see how it works. And then you will occasionally see some results where you go, oh yeah, that doesn't work. Yeah, we're not doing that again.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So
hold on. We need to stop some of this Jake Watson. This is the equivalent of Jake being drunk, which I don't think happens. But
ever.
I think in the comment section, we are letting him run amok. And I just need some clarification here because I'm not sure if he's on his facetious run still. But it says Renato is #1 cool guy, second only to AJ Agazarm, which begs the question, does someone need to take your phone from you, Jake?
Jake's little son has the phone. I like AJ Agazarm.
Honestly, that would be an amazing reading comprehension if he was tweeting out some jokes like that. It's high level stuff. But yes.
What if you have a kid though and they grow up to like the bad guy? You know what I mean? They're like, I love Agazarm.
My nephew for years was like, I love Darth Vader. And I was like, cool, but you like Han Solo, right? Nah, man, Darth Vader is where it's at. I go, sure. You're still like 7 or 8. And by the way, speaking of things going well, Raquel Canuto in the mount, working on a guillotine. I see Michele trying to like attack these arms here, but Canuto is not one to really give an inch here. So we'll see if she's able to finish. At the very least, even if she's not finishing, it just does not look like a fun place to be. As she now starts storming for the back, but ends up on bottom as Michele saw an opportunity, try to make her way out of it. Raquel has double unders looking for a sweep and essentially gets it there too.
Nice. Yeah, that was a nice sweep right there. She's Raquel at this point is really dictating the match and what's happening. And Oliveira's just in a state where she's responding right now. And sometimes that happens even when grapplers are really good and they're matched up evenly. Sometimes one of them comes out hard, man. And Raquel's a pretty fast starter. She's not a slow starter. And if you're not ready for that, it can be quite a storm to endure.
Egghead and Jake are going back and forth, and he says, try the double IPAs, Jake. They're great. I mean, I do enjoy IPAs myself. And it says, I'm out in Kazakhstan. My son is asleep back home. It's 8:33 a.m. there. That is an early call time for you, sir. So I hope that you are enjoying your day, sir. This is actually, I think, a fun thing to wake up to. So you're probably in good spirits, I'm sure. But Canuto looking to take the back here might be a little off. If she's able to transition, she does, but doesn't quite get the armbar she was perhaps looking at. Now instead opting to play from bottom. We'll see how quickly she goes back to sweep central, but that's about half of the time of regulation thus far in.
Yeah, and now is when athletes start negotiating with them. Well, maybe I can get this in overtime.
I mean,
I don't think Raquel does that. I don't think either of the Canutos.
Yeah. The Canutos are the type that literally see how much time is left in the washer and dryer, and they're like, let's see if we can cut that in half. It's 12
Let's see
minutes.
if we can go get groceries and come back before it's done.
Nonetheless, Canuto may be looking at a triangle, but I think Michele may have popped her head just enough. I mean, she's holding on to that wrist with all dear life to try and lock it in. She may suck her back into the guard a little bit deeper to get that triangle. Nonetheless, she's holding on to that arm. There's 2 minutes and 7 seconds left on my clock here. And it does look like she's trying to break down the posture, has to open it up. It kicks her for good measure. Normally people kick them and get back up, but she was like, nah, I'll just stay here for a second. We're good.
I just wanted to get one free kick in.
I mean, listen, it's something that people do when you compete. It's not necessarily against the rules, but I will tell you, the first time you get kicked in competition, you're always like, can you do that? Like, I always have a moment where I go, wait, yeah, I guess this is fair.
Yeah, we saw some of that at Who's Number One. I'm trying to remember the match, but there was one dude in particular that was really kicking a lot to get up from bottom.
I do like this, the back and forth. Miss you, Jake. You should try the kumis there.
There's nowhere you can go where Egghead can't give you a recommendation for what to do or what. We should start making up places, you know. I'm going to Saskatchewan.
Letting you know, it's like, oh, talk to James. He's the HD. He knows.
He's the handler there.
Just tell him Egg sent you. And he'll be like, oh, that's so weird. I don't think it's gonna work, dude. All right, and it does look like Michele on top, trying to pass again. Canuto maybe kicking her again, maybe not, depending on your interpretation. I will say, maybe about a month and a half ago, you did get Raquel saying she was so happy to finally get to compete on the same card as her husband. And now it looks like they're kind of a package deal with the UFC. It looks like they're more than happy to entertain the Canutos joining in as one on these events.
She gave her another little kick coming up. You'll see it.
Oh, I believe you. I'm also in a space now where I just kind of expect it, because why not? Especially with the last few seconds. Like, if you're down to the last 15 seconds, you should probably expect the kick at this point.
Yeah. Look, if you're not, you got to get a little bit rough. I'm okay with that. I'm just, some of the matches, like, you know, it's just two dudes clubbing each other over and over. And then they're literally slapping, because when they miss, they whiff hard. You're like, oh shit, that was a slap. That wasn't a collar tie, you know?
I like that you're saying that as if there was an event yesterday where people just clubbed and digged at one another without any wrestling attempts.
Man, there was.
You're saying that there was for sure, but there might have been.
Yeah, no, there definitely was. And there were a lot of foot sweeps that were just straight up kicks. Just straight kicks, man. Jiu-jitsu guys want to fight so bad. Just fight. If you want to fight that bad, just fight. And this guy already does fight, so maybe it's just built into him. He's like, I'm a black belt. Don't ever sneak up behind me. I don't know what I'll do. I'm a trained MMA fighter. I'll kick you.
I'm always intrigued by when we see how these things go. Would you say some of these fighters or some of these jiu-jitsu guys just want to fight? In Raquel's case, she does fight. And Canuto was teasing an MMA fight. And then I think we got him doing this. I think he said there was some momentum happening. I think there was the CJI that was happening.
Yeah.
So he was supposed to debut as an MMA fighter. What a beautiful trip there by Raquel. Well done. But we were supposed to, I think, if there was no CJI, have seen the MMA debut of a Renato Canuto.
Yeah, he said he was preparing for that, and then he changed gears, and he wasn't really a no-gi guy. It was mostly a gi dude, and there was some speculation that he wouldn't do that great, but he's awesome, man.
Raquel, palm to palm here. There's a body triangle. One might think this could be done, and it is now. So congratulations to Raquel getting it done in the overtime portion, putting on the crown, and now pointing at the mat and going over to her hybrid jiu-jitsu family, pointing at everybody there, letting people know. I can't really fully interpret what she's saying. I'm just going to imagine that she's saying, I run this, because I think that sounds like the most logical thing.
Yeah, she started with the crown, like for the queen, and then she said, like, she hit her chest. I imagine her doing the Denzel Washington speech in Training Day right at the end when he's like, I'll put cases on all y'all. You'll be playing basketball in Pelican Bay.
Tim, it's never that.
That's what I wanted to say.
The weird part is none of that affects me. It's when they point to themselves, then everybody there. Because it makes it seem like it's all because of you guys, or I'm doing it for you. But the way she does it so aggressively comes across as, is she going to fight me next?
She's
like,
saying,
sure
me first, then you. Yeah.
So I believe
You want me to listen in on her?
Yeah, would you try and just get us a gist of what she's saying there? And as you talk, or as she talks and you listen to that, I'll just say thank you to everybody tuning in. I see a lot of you guys on Twitter. We appreciate you guys. If you're just tuning in right now, we're watching the Fight Pass Invitational number 9. Big day for jiu-jitsu. One of the last big events of the year. We didn't want to miss it here at the Bullpen. And Tim is currently listening in to the post-fight speech and will give us a quick little recap of what Raquel had to talk with BMAC about on the microphone as he just hears the last parts to see if we get any other insight. But Tim, are we missing anything notable here?
She gave props to the crowd and said, you know, I want to put on a show. They came here to see the show, and I wanted to put on a show tonight. And then BMAC asked her to walk the crowd through the takedown and then the tap, and she just kind of talked through it. Said she's not wrestling as much anymore, and I believe she said that wrestling was her base. And then she said thank you to everybody again, and she's very gracious. And you know, I think she doesn't have to say anything too outrageous because she's winning all the time. So her jiu-jitsu right now is speaking for itself in a big way.
Undoubtedly, and now she gets an opportunity to go say hello to the crowd, and you get the sense of who she was pointing at, and I don't think she was challenging them. I think those were family members. But for a split second, could have gone either way. Wasn't quite sure. And they're now showing some scenes from the locker room, which always is great when they just show the most lethargic stretching you've ever seen in your life.
You know, whenever they show the MMA matches, the dude's always shadow boxing and throwing kicks. And when they show jiu-jitsu guys, they're like doing some poor yoga form. It's like poor man's yoga. Somebody that took 3 yoga classes, basically.
By the way, I have to say, I looked back to see who might be in the Grappling Hour Instagram version of this, and I saw somebody named Joe Stockton, and my first thought was initially, well, that's definitely a Tim guy. That's not a me guy.
Yeah, I don't know who Joe Stockton is.
You should. I mean,
that's funny, though.
That's your jurisdiction here, sir.
Yeah. It's, you know, I don't have it on lock anymore, man. Once I moved to the South, I'm trying to lock the South down.
I will tell you the unfortunate part of all of this is that I do have to ingest some of the bitch slap invitational commercials where I normally never watch a single part of them, and I actively try not to watch it. But there it is. And meanwhile, they did kind of tell you a banger of a card is heading to us in Los Angeles in the near future. But this Saturday, not to be outdone, Pantoja, and of course, just a really, really solid, good card. So excited to see that one coming up. That's happening this Saturday. If you guys have not seen it, don't worry. It'll replay at least 4 more times before we're done tonight.
Man, I think if they're going to do power slap, they should do like concussion research at the same time. Just be like, hey, we'll give you 10% more if you guys let us wire you up. It's for the good of science, man.
So I want to point this out. You got Gracie coming out in what looks like purplish, pink kind of shorts. I don't think I've seen those before, Tim.
You know, I am an openly colorblind person. I'm courageous. I'm out about that. So to me, it looks like he's got gray with a lighter gray.
Just this took a turn where it went from me being like, oh, the color palette here. Clearly, Tim, what are your thoughts? Well, Raf, as someone who doesn't see color, literally, uncertain what I'm saying here.
I know Chambers looks fly, though.
I think Chambers is getting a new jacket every time he competes. So,
man, yeah, I posted a reel of him at PGF with his anime jacket on, and it got like way more than any other thing I've ever put out there. I'm like, this guy is so cool. Even the shit I got.
He is for sure a one of one when it comes to attire. And you could tell over at the PGF, him and Cam Hurd were kind of vying for
Yeah.
best dressed. And Cam Hurd legitimately wanted to know where he stood against him. And I had to reveal to him, not good.
He really did too. He's like, "What? Am I chopped liver?" Like, look, man.
I just
got the
tried to
cutoff
tell him the
sweater.
criteria that we had. And I was like, it's not like you look bad. It's just, I mean, look at this, dude. Like, this is some fly shit.
Accessories. That's what I told him. Look, you gotta accessorize better. He's like, "Okay, thank you for that."
I'm glad that these guys really wanted feedback. It really does make a difference to them whether they win or lose at literally everything. Whenever I figure out what the thing that I will bring in that they can compete at, that is like an additional game show element, I will 100% make that some supplementary thing. We were talking about the idea of the 1FC having to make you weigh in like 3 times. They might as well do that as a game show.
Yeah,
And I feel like
they should.
that was a direct hit.
Yeah, they should do it as a game show. And I actually was like thinking about this afternoon after you texted it. I'm like, I would like to see mandatory food penalties. Like if you do miss weight, then they force you to eat something, and then you gotta go make weight after you ate that.
Damn, dude, that's rough shit. Whoosh. Well, we still continue to wish the best to KEVIN SHERRILL, who was supposed to join us tonight, but unfortunately is dead to us tonight. But I believe we should see him here tomorrow. And if you're Uncle Jesse, you are 100% here to see your boy Kyle Chambers go to work. He already pulled guard. I think he's looking to try and very quickly get to the legs of Gracie.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how Gracie plays this on top. He's pretty good passer, man. Brings lots of pressure. But Kyle's so long. If he gets his hooks under you, he's got a good chance at elevating you.
Agree. I mean, the weird part for me in this is Chambers has equally been busy. On a subversive card, a month later,
Yeah.
AIGA trials. 2 weeks later, PGF. Then was on main character jiu-jitsu. And tonight, I think this is his last competition of the year. But because we say that, and we also know that there is a jiu-jitsu overdose, I never want to put the period at the end of the sentence, but an incredibly busy couple months here. The note here is Kevin had an unexpected facial emergency, which, I mean, I think all facial emergencies are unexpected if you really think about it.
He couldn't get his sideburns lined up right. He's like, I took them too high. Now I look like Brian Bosworth.
I have to say, I do believe, though, it's not like me that has the show must go on mentality, like at all costs. I think Kevin is of the milk, if you would. That is, my sideburns were a little bit off today. I think I got to take today off.
Yeah. If I don't look good, I don't feel good.
I'm just saying, like, I kind of get it more for him than it would be for me, but under no circumstances. Yeah. I think you guys have seen me literally die on air and still manage to, like, have a presence on. But, some of us are just born different. Some of us are champs, Tim.
Yeah.
And some of us are not.
I think it would be appropriate for you to say they not like us.
Yeah. I mean, do you know what the weird part is? I didn't keep the belt close to... Oh, no, it's right there. I do see it. Oh, it is there.
Yeah. Oh, no, it's always within sight.
Well, the thing is, listen, dude, I have had to restructure the office because the mother-in-law was in town. So that's why when you were like, are you ready to go? I was like, I am not. I am going to need 10 minutes. Yes, no, Kevin did take a spa day today. You can say that. So really, it's on you guys for not expecting him to take a spa day.
Yeah, and ultimately, it's on us for actually believing he'd show up.
That is true. That is very true. And I see a note here that says, pegged in the face with a football. Now he'll never be a teen model. Yes. It is weird that both the Brady Bunch and Clueless kind of have the pegged in the face kind of jokes, but sure, yes, they both did utilize that. They did work. They did work for a reason. And Gracie, not quite past, but you are getting the sense that he is frustrating Chambers just a little bit more now. And Tim, is he close to perhaps finding an answer to get a pass here, or at least looking at the back?
Yeah, but it might give, like, it's giving Chambers a chance to get on the leg now. We'll see how this gets played.
Wow. Well done here for a split second. And Chambers keeps that underhook. He's looking at it. He does have the reap over. We'll see. Wait, for Gracie, is that all like the Constitution on his leg right there? That is a lot of words on a leg.
Yeah, you got to have ChatGPT summarize that for you.
Jesus Christ, dude. I don't got time to read all that. Like, legitimately, and people put a sentence on their body. I'm like, I'm not going to read that.
Out of principle.
But just too many words. No, thank you, sir.
Yeah, I'd rather see a symbol. I'd rather see it in another language so I don't have to try.
Nonetheless, though, I mean, perhaps one of the better moments here for Chambers momentarily, but now, you know, Gracie putting the mouth cover, I knew that was coming. I just didn't know when. Yeah, dude, I do get the sense that with Gracie, whatever it says on there, I'm pretty sure that it has the signatures of John Hancock, our founding fathers, at the very bottom of it. It looks like whoever wrote it also does all the like calligraphy that you have on all your degrees.
Yeah, no, it does look like it's pretty fancy handwriting.
So props to whoever did that. It says, you do. You do what, Uncle Jesse? I'm not sure what the I do was in reference to, Tim. Do you?
You know, there's a lot of comments that are made, and I think people are commenting as if we have access to the ideas in their head that they're thinking when they leave the comments.
I think it is true, but I think they just react first. Gracie might be on the back here, and Chambers under some duress. There's a body triangle on the inside, though. And one thing that you can come to expect with Kyle Chambers, he has been in these positions before. It's not to say he's going to get out of it, but at the very least, he has made a number of saves that I have not been able to in the past. But Gracie very close on a choke that would probably put people out, but there was an inside grip that kept Chambers alive as he's now looking to try and get out of this, get his back flat. Doesn't quite have it. Gracie might still be able to reattack the back here, but that's this. It says, you have a sentence that, oh, you have a tattoo that's a sentence. That's right. You know, I have seen that, but at least that's like one short sentence. You don't have a full paragraph. Go look at the other side of Gracie's leg, and you tell me what you think any of that says. And then you tell me, even in person, are you going to sit and read the full part of it? Palm to palm here by Gracie.
Man,
does look like Chambers is a little behind. He's trying to attack that wrist. He gets out of it, and he can't fully turn all the way back, but they are going to reposition him, I think. Well, they're thinking about it. They're talking about it.
Chambers is really hard to finish, man.
Absolutely hard to finish.
Jonnatas is setting up a OG key locker right now.
It says definitely not. See, thank you. I thought that's the whole purpose of getting a tattoo is so that you can get people to be like, oh, what's that? Oh, what's the story behind that? Tell me about this. And when you see a full paragraph, you're like, you know what? Just summarize it. Just tell me what the gist of what you got.
Send me a QR code. I'll have Siri read it to me.
I don't got time for all this shit. No, thank you, sir. At least your sentence is something like, I work hard because I work hard. That's like the basic gist of what Jesse has. So, or like some sort of weird Latin phrase, which is just like the grind never stops. I'm pretty sure that's what these guys get. See a comment here. Oh God, speaking of long paragraphs, Also, most commentators don't realize there's a delay from when they see the video and when you get to read their comment. So the comments need context in them. That's true too. It's more so this. It's more so that anybody who's jumping in sometimes has no clue and you want to kind of give the context to it. So just saying like an I do, sometimes you may have mentioned like, oh, who could ever pass Kyle Chambers' guard? I don't think I have the ability to do that. And then you get somebody going like, I do. And you go, oh, okay, well, you're super good, blah, blah, blah. But I mean, that's what Jesse said about Kyle Chambers. He said he could pass his guard. Let's make sure that's in the written record of the show. And it's kind of close, but not. On you. See, I'm 100% close. I know I am, Jesse. You don't have to tell me yes or no. I already know. You literally got like grind never stops. But these are some pretty good highlights for Gracie, though, Tim. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah,
that was a pretty good exploration. We mentioned how hard it is to submit Chambers, but not for nothing. It looked really solid from Gracie throughout that match. Just now we go into overtime, and you get the sense where I'm not sure if Chambers had any negative points, but you almost can expect him to pull guard in less than 2 seconds here.
Yeah, I wonder if he has any hesitation because Jonnatas took his back a couple times. Mm-hmm. It'll be interesting to see how this part plays out. Chambers is real tough. It can be discouraging too if you cannot submit a guy. You got him dead to rights and you can't finish him.
And it says America's leading so far. Not sure if they can keep the lead. And that's from Michael Ochoa. Listen, Mike, I didn't know that this was a for sure America versus Brazil were keeping tally sort of situation. But sure, I know they were billing it as like, we got some Brazilians, we got some Americans, but we didn't quite bill this as a Ultimate Fighter season, Brazil versus America. But who knows? Maybe they did. I don't know. And Uncle Jesse said fake news. No. You said it. It's in the comment. I screenshot it. You're good. Chambers and I will have that discussion when you finally come up to train at some point, which you have not done yet, even though it's been a couple of years, but it's all good. Anyway, 3 minutes, 57 seconds in overtime. Gracie already with 2 points, and you get the sense, I mean, dude, he can go on cruise control here if you wanted to, but still, I think he's going to look to try and go right back to getting that back take, putting the pressure on Chambers, who's probably a little tired from having to fend off some of those submissions. So now that they get that reset, it's going to be very difficult. Like if you're Chambers, you kind of are really needing to get that submission. That's really going to be the only way to win this match at this point.
Yeah, I don't foresee him being able to get those points back. I guess maybe if he gets a sweep and he takes the back, he could pull that off, but he's mostly in a defensive position right now. But Chambers can pull something off. Like I wouldn't be surprised if he did.
Absolutely. I thought about I'm just going to try and use that arm to get the back take there. Doesn't quite have it. Chambers keeping the guard open. 2:50 on my clock. So how do you say? Is it Jonnatas? Like, how do we say it? Jonas? Wait, what?
Well, I call him Jonnatas. I don't know, man. I'm just going with it at this point.
Like all of these versions on how to say his name are incorrect. And I try not to contribute to it. But I just figure if I say Gracie, we're fine.
Yeah, because we'll know it's Gracie you're talking about.
I mean, listen, in this match, you can get away with it. But, like,
that's true.
If there's a bunch of people from a Gracie Barra, then you're kind of fucked. Nonetheless, I will say, getting the mount position, that's a 10-0 score. This is where things get tricky because I think this is where it's hard to quantify exactly what you're seeing from a competitive standpoint. Most people would just say, I think I'm good here.
Yeah, I think Kyle's going to try to win, though. You know, like that's just in his nature. And Jonnatas has got a Darce. Look like maybe that's no. It looks like a Darce. I think Kyle's got OE.
I mean, that's pretty solid attempt here, especially being 10 up. Still trying to hunt for a submission. Respect to him. Chambers does tap out right there. Wow. Again, we talked about how hard it is to submit him, but Jonnatas Gracie now covering up the preamble to the Constitution on his leg. But what an incredible performance by him here tonight. He looked good in the regulation.
Amazing.
Couldn't get it done, but then in overtime was able to find his moment and now puts up a sign to the audience. So, Tim, I'm going to ask you to get us some of the info that's happening here in just a second. But to those of you watching, thank you so much. We appreciate you guys. To my man, Bartender Eddie, I hope you're doing well. I saw you pop in here for a minute. You're the best rival in the world. Bartender Eddie, one of the toughest people to roll in jiu-jitsu against. I would know that because he shows up, unlike Jesse, who has yet to show up. So, just saying. I mean, a rough night at the office there for Kyle Chambers, but I'm sure he will be back. He is always a fun competitor to watch. And, you know, the weird part is for Gracie, the kind of small side of this is he didn't get in regulation, even though he had great positions. So he definitely had to work for it. And I think here in just a second, we'll get some of that insight that he seems to be telling Brandon McCatherine. I saw a hand raise for this point here, but I have no context for what it means. We'll get to know exactly what it means here in just a second, but I'm pretty sure they're going to throw to some of the footage here of him getting the finish in just a second. But as we do, as a reminder, if you guys like our show, I hope that you do. We will have a new episode of The Bullpen tomorrow where we recap all of the major events in jiu-jitsu, and it says, what submission was it? It was essentially kind of like an in-transition Darce. Like, he got it pretty effectively. Chambers toughed it out for maybe about a good 30 seconds, but it was pretty tough. It was not something I think most of us look like we would get out of. But Tim, do you have some updates for us on what he's saying here?
Indeed. Okay, so first he told everyone how to say his name.
How does he say it?
He says Jonnatas.
Jonnatas?
Jonnatas. I didn't hear Joe, I heard Jonnatas.
Oh, like Joe. Okay.
Yeah. And then he went on to say that he wanted to show off his skill set tonight, that he's always had good pressure and good top game, good control, but he wanted to show off his skills and that he's been climbing the ladder in jiu-jitsu and he's going to continue to do it. And then he kind of swerved and said, I want to thank Renzo Gracie. He's been a huge supporter in my life, and he coached my first MMA fight, and he's paid for me to fly out here, and he paid my rent. Like, he's been really good to me. So he just gave the thanks out to him, and then that was it. So I don't know what the be quiet was thing, because he didn't address it. Maybe it was just like, it's the way he says I love you.
He heard how I was pronouncing it, and he was like,
turn those guys off. Yeah.
He's like, nah, dude, that's not how we say that name. So, I mean, props to him, dude. He looked really good out there. Big respect. He had a good night here tonight. I don't think there's much you can say bad about his performance. It looked really solid all the way through.
Not at all. Yeah, no, he looked fantastic, man. He's been winning pretty regularly, I'd say, in the last couple of years. He's looked pretty good, and his top control is just really dominant, and it's putting him in really great positions to win matches. And I'm stoked to see Ronaldo Jr. fight tonight, man. This dude is just a machine. He's got great wrestling, great submission skills, exciting. He's probably the reason they had to lower the mats off the platform. For sure, he runs a risk. Their insurance probably came in and they're like, yeah, we had our actuary come in, and he actually said they could not insure the event unless we lowered it if Ronaldo Jr.'s on the card.
It is very funny to see him walking in so calm, because those of us who have seen him compete know he's pretty intense when he gets out there. So whatever face he's showing us right now is very much for like it's not necessarily fooling us, but it's definitely going to make you very confused when you see this man go to attack here in just about less than 2 minutes. And I have to say that it is very nice to see how quickly they move in this card. Also, so I can't get a good sense of what this is, but you know how do you see this shot of Ronaldo, and behind him they have all these names on the cards of the seats, and it makes me just look at those. Yeah, they're pre-reserved, but you should have seat fillers there. I don't like seeing empty seats like that. Like, it legitimately bugs me as a guy who used to do audience work. Normally you have audience members that you have their seat fillers as your main stars get there, because they're going to come on star time. You kind of ask them to move to a separate section, or you drape it off. Like, seeing it empty makes me aggressively mad in a way I cannot fully explain. And you're the UFC, you have people there. You could literally bring in people from the Fight Pass center.
Yeah, you can.
You could literally tell them, like, hey, dum-dums who are getting your food, go out there and sit there for 20 minutes, and then you can leave. But I digress, Tim. This is a production issue, so.
You could feel it. Like, you remember watching old reruns of the People's Court? Sometimes they'd have kids in the audience. It'd be like a bunch of 13-year-olds, 7th graders.
Well, it's because they got the one day off from school because they let them go to a taping. But look at that. Count how many seats that is. I can tell you without even counting, that's about 20 seats.
Yeah. That's a lot.
That's what happens whenever you work TV audiences stuff. Like, my wife does this whenever we go to weddings. She'll be like, how many people are in the room? And I was like, don't do that to me. Like, I want to know how many people are in the room. I was like, there's 127. Like, how do you know that? I was like, it's what happens. So it's like, anytime I go to a gym, I already know what the full capacity is. So do you know anything about Nick here? Because I'm a little bit newer on this man. You do see Nicky Rod and Damien in his corner, but do you know stuff about him that I don't know?
No, I don't. I have seen him before, but I don't have very much on his record. Or
are you concerned like I am in the way that he just seems a little too friendly? Like, he's been very chill and wavy, and the pre-workout for him in the back where he was just doing the light stretching, like, this is not the dude that you can be doing that with.
Yeah, he's very relaxed coming into it. He seems very relaxed, which, man, I agree with you, because Ronaldo can pop off at any second. But I don't know. You know, Nick is young. He's probably got great reactionary skills.
Well, you get the sense that if he's training with B Team, there's stuff that we don't know. So I'm sure that there are a bunch of young men who religiously watch the B Team channel. I am not one of them. Who are like, yeah, he does this. I know this guy.
Sure,
because it's like a lifestyle channel. So women have the Kardashians. Dudes who like BJJ have B Team. That's essentially what it is.
Yeah, that's a good call, actually.
Listen, I know exactly what the branding and the programming is here. But even these collar ties, they're so loosely draped here that it makes me wonder, like, what don't I know? And what am I going to be surprised about here momentarily?
Yeah, we're going to find out.
Okay. But Ronaldo now starting to turn up the heat just ever so slightly as they very kindly ask them to go to the center of the mats.
Ooh. Yeah.
I think you being ahead of me tells me something is coming here right now. So.
Oh, snap. Okay, yeah.
You don't have to worry about shit. I'm perfectly fine. And that was a nice little return there between the two of them, because you did see the first spark of life that I was wondering about.
Yeah, as soon as you said it, it happened.
That's when you could tell Nick's like, no, man, I got some shit that I do. I'm just curious because he looks like the type of tall training partner that is a good size for somebody like Nicky Rod to regularly be training with. So I think he'll do okay. I just don't know a ton about him. So that's why it's fun to watch these events. I'm just curious how he gets this prominent of a spot on the card.
Yeah, I don't know. I was thinking that because he is they're right before the co-main event or the second to last fight of the night. So it is a good position to be in because this is about the time when people start tuning in for the main card for most people,
Yeah.
But there definitely could be something we don't know about this kid.
Oh no. Raph doing his Rain Man thing with occupancy stats. I mean, kind of, dude. I don't know how to tell you this. It's a fun gag game that we do. And it's what happens when you have to fill approximately 380 seats every single night. Nice little duck there to that single. Doesn't quite get it, but I like the speed there. Nick actually enters very well. Very, very, we were talking about how loose he was. That's sometimes when you see with really good wrestlers where they can make it just seem like at drill speed and just easily find their openings.
Yeah, smooth.
But nonetheless, yes, thank you for that. I definitely try to keep my numbers used for positive things. Like when my wife says, "What's the discount I get off of this?" Like she has a calculator, but she uses my brain for that specific thing. All right, we're approaching about that midway point here. And I do wonder about this, Tim, because if you were scoring this, would you have any kind of inclination for one or the other here?
Man, the first couple minutes it seemed like Ronaldo was really driving it, but I feel like Nick's defense, his wrestling defense, has been really on point, and they just got a warning for a power whiff. I don't know if you saw that.
I was about
yet.
to say, I was like, I didn't know if they were gonna let that go because that was more than just a club and dig. That was like that was a paw swat, like you're a bear.
Yeah, he's like, I'm trying to treetop him, but that was pretty rough hit.
Oh my goodness. I mean, listen, I definitely laughed a little bit at it, but nonetheless, he's on a single leg, tries to bring him down, decides to run him up, lifts the leg all the way through. Now maybe trying to go and attack the neck, doesn't quite have it. He's going to see if he can drag him down here. He does lose the grip, and both the gentlemen will find their way back to the center of the mats. What's intriguing about this is, I don't know if you see this, but I think since we're on the element of where Raf's brain goes, nice takedown here. If that was points, that would be points. But when I start to look at the puzzle mats here, because they're not puzzles, but they look like part of a puzzle that they reassemble here, if you would. It is very interesting to see that they have mats that are specific to the Fight Pass Invitational. So I think that's part of the reason they were able to make the modifications here from that like elevated platform to one that they pieced together more at like the floor section of where the stairs come.
Yeah, and it's probably a lot easier to do. It makes for a better viewing experience, probably.
LOL, wrestlers talk about how incredible their wrestling is, and we spend 75% of the match on our feet. I mean,
yeah, that's because they don't have shoes on. Also, it's a lot harder to create that speed that they use, and you got to be much closer, and so you often get into this game of prolonged hand fighting.
I mean, Tim, you have a son that wrestles, so you definitely get to see it on a more regular basis than a lot of our friends do, I'm sure. It is different, but it is part of the appeal of trying to put it into our sport so that we get a few highlights. It's just, if you told any of us to get a takedown right now, you might be there for a while.
Yeah, it depends against who, you know what I mean?
Just saying, like, against the civilian, I think I got a good shot. Against somebody else who trains, ugh.
Yeah, it could be a while. Unless it's like a one-legged dude, then I could probably get a takedown, but
I really hope that's specifically what you're asking for. Look at this. I like this. This is from subscriber 10304. When I get my blue belt, there are two things I want to do. A 6-month jiu-jitsu trip in Rio and a 6-month Cali trip, starting in San Diego and finishing in Stockton.
Yeah, because you're going to die in Stockton. Don't go to Stockton.
That's fair.
What are you doing?
if you go from San Diego, you're in a good spot. You can always come up to LA. I would be happy to roll with you, unless you're good, in which I will make you roll with my minions. But nonetheless, find your way up to LA and, drop a note to your buddy Raf.
Will I be? Oh, yeah. Read this next comment. This guy's angling for a match now.
Will I be able to have a no time limit sublimate with a Tim's blue belt of my size? That's a Tim question. That's not a Raf question.
It depends on what your size is, buddy. He's like, yeah, that was
Ronaldo
close.
was looking for that guillotine there, and that looked
Yeah,
very
it was.
nice. But Nick,
I'm sure we could set something up.
Yeah, listen, dude, we're very pro gambling here. I guess the question is, what do you got?
Yeah, exactly. What's it worth to you, kid?
Because also, like, there might be an entry fee for the tournament hosts. So I just want to know what we're getting here, bud.
There's a drop-in fee. Definitely.
It's going to be so great when you tell the people there's an organizer fee. It's like, that goes to me. For
it's an add-on. Oh,
ladies and gents, in case you're wondering, coming up next after this match is your co-main event. You got Nolf and Canuto. That should be fireworks. We are still not done with this one, as we're likely going to an overtime, even though Ronaldo trying to give you a submission here to end with 4 seconds left on the clock. I don't think he's going to have enough time to get it. And he does not. But nonetheless, fun way to get there. And Nick, I don't love the look on his face. I think this kid just has a very honest looking face, which is unfortunate in a world where you kind of need to keep your cards to your vest. Like,
sorry, I realized I put my finger in front of the camera.
You're perfectly fine. This is a kid who I want to play poker with, not watch do grappling and try to mask when he's feeling a little overwhelmed. Tim, I have to say, when I get this isolated track, I cannot promise you what I am going to do with this footage.
Oh, that's fine.
Okay. Just because I'm looking at you do this, and I feel like there's so many different avenues.
I hope you do something with it. Please. I'd love being the butt end of the joke. It's great.
Well, I do appreciate this. Tim, it does look like coming up here, though, we will have you heading out here in just a second, but we will see you back tomorrow after the OT here. So we're going to watch this OT. You're going to head out, but tomorrow we will see you back for another installment of the Bullpen, correct?
Most def. I'm looking forward to it. Got some firepower to talk about.
We definitely have a lot to talk about, so I'm very excited to get there. Ooh, Junior making a great choice to go after the leg here. I think Nick might actually be in some big trouble in this particular position, Tim. But manages to get back out. Well done.
Yeah, this is, whether Nick wins or loses this match, this is a great match for him.
Absolutely. And a good debut match for us to really have more eyes on him because, like I said, I just wasn't as familiar with him. It's a curious placement on the card. I probably would have put him a little bit earlier, given his newness to our eyes. But I think they were trying to run with some momentum for Ronaldo Jr., and for the interim, it looks like Nick has been able to stifle a lot of that momentum, but he might be coming up short here in just a second, as Ronaldo's reach is making the type of darce, well, no, he's switching it off now, but the type of attacks that you would not be able to have if you had stubby T-Rex arm like yours truly. Yep, now he's going to switch that on over. Yeah.
Ronaldo's just, he's a menace, man.
Yeah. Well done. So here's what I want to say about this match. What's up, Kevin? Good to see you, buddy. The thing that really, it doesn't even disappoint me. It just makes me feel bad. Like, you can see this kid kind of breaking a little bit. And I don't love seeing that. I feel like, dude, this kid wears his emotions on his sleeve. Like, it is hard to watch in the sense that I'm like, dude, you could tell he was starting to get fatigued. You could tell he was getting exhausted and just out there. And it's so hard to go with somebody at the level of a Ronaldo Jr. But it was more kind of heartbreaking to be like, damn, kid, like, I don't want to watch you lose like that.
Yeah, I think he's just disappointed. I think he'll be back for sure though. He's pretty game. I think it was a great experience for him to get out there and fight a dude like Ronaldo Jr. on UFC Fight Pass. Like that's a pretty big deal. That's going to go a long way in the experience bucket. And at the same time, it looks to me like he came in with high expectations. He definitely wanted to win that match, which of course is the right mindset. Ronaldo just kept running the chokes together, though. I mean, there's only so many of those you're going to be able to get out of before you get caught. And it's interesting how he trapped the arm at first, and then he was able to turn this, and it was just too tight. He was deep under the neck. That was nice.
Well, I am now putting this up to our friends to let them know that the co-main is coming up. But Tim, it looks like you are about to head out right now, sir. So
yes, sir.
Let me ask this, sir. Where can the people find you? Where can they go see your stuff before they come back tomorrow? Obviously, they want to see more of your stuff solo. Where can they see that?
Well, you can see me at the Bullpen tomorrow, and then inside BJJ on all your social media platforms. I have a Patreon out there, Inside BJJ. Check that out. I have a show coming up on Sunday with a good friend of mine. His name is Joe Spinell. He is a black belt out here in Tennessee. He's also a physician. He's really interesting dude. And he's the first friend that I met out here. And he just happened to be a black belt in jiu-jitsu, which was super great. We were able to bond over that. And we've been good friends since. He's got a great wrestling mind. He has lots of wrestling experience. So I'm looking forward to sitting down with him on Sunday. But yeah, man, outside of that, it's good to be here, dude. Egg just called me a quitter. Damn you, man. This guy's relentless. I feel like he's going to be there right when they close the casket. He's going to get one parting shot in on me.
I think the worst part here for me is that Egg was like equating you to a KEVIN SHERRILL, but probably is like, well, at least KEVIN SHERRILL had the decency not to show up. Unlike Tim, who made it seem like he was going to stay till the end, but quit right before the co-main event. So I don't know which is worse. But by the way, before you leave, there's been nothing funnier than the green screened background Dana White with the Christmas tree behind him set up here. It has made me laugh so fucking hard that they need to be like, hey, it's the holidays. Dana, can we get you live with a Christmas tree? I don't got any fucking time for that. But you know what I will do? I'll tell you what's coming up next. It's UFC.com for 16 days. It's a lot of fun. We ho-ho-ho a lot. There's 16 days of UFC. You guys want to be there? Alex Pereira's going to be there. It's 12 doves, some other bullshit, a lot of birds, and then some other stuff. So there's going to be 2 fucking Fridays. Get excited for it.
Yeah, it looked like they filmed it in his dentist's office or something.
Well, as you head out, Egg just wanted to say this, but seriously, your East Coast time, too damn late in my opinion. So nonetheless, I think that's a good opportunity for you to get on out of here.
All right, guys, thanks.
Appreciate you. I will see you back here tomorrow, sir.
All right, thanks, brother.
All right, that is Tim Freeman, everybody. And you got your boy, RAF ESPARZA. I will be handling the rest of the evening here solo. It is a good time. We enjoy you guys. We hope that you're enjoying this broadcast that we're doing for the very fun week of festivities. I know that I see up here coming up for the Jiu-Jitsu Overdose. That's going to be a very good time. You got Combat Jiu-Jitsu Worlds, EBI, and of course the Medusa event. That's all happening next week. So do not go anywhere. And for tonight, you know, the beautiful thing about doing one of these events is they go by fairly quick. Because right now we're at Jason Nolf and Canuto. So our time here is almost expired. But I think we've been utilizing it very, very well. So hang tight. We got a little bit more match left for you guys. And then we're going to call it a night here pretty soon. but we do have some more fun stuff to do before we get on out of here. So if you guys have any questions, comments, concerns, hints, allegations, all of that good jazz, hit me up in the comment section. Your boy RAF ESPARZA is going to walk you through the last couple fights of the night, and I hope that you guys have been enjoying the festivities thus far in. We have been very much enjoying our time with you, as we've got Nolf and Canuto about to hit your screens here in just a few seconds. But if you have any questions for me, feel free to direct them this way, as I will happily answer them as best I can. And it says here, I'll check back in after the match. Well, thank you for that. See, even Egg has to leave. I don't think, wait, can't we call you a quitter? By your own metrics, does that not make you a quitter? See, I don't understand. The standards are very different for people here, it looks like. But nonetheless, it is what it is. All right. Appreciate you, Egg. Appreciate you guys watching in. And if you're watching on Twitter or any of our other subsidies here, feel free to drop a comment in. Let us know what you're excited about and who you are most excited to see here on this broadcast. Only 2 matches left. You see people out there from the hybrid jiu-jitsu already with the faces on the popsicle sticks. They're showing some support and love to our good friend, one Renato Canuto, who is just one of the nicest human beings in all of jiu-jitsu. A beast. Somebody that's difficult to grapple with, but always gives you exciting matches. He was an incredible addition to the PGF for Season 6 and a Vegas local. I will say this, though. He was supposed to do an interview with me. Did not do it. So he and I need to have some words, just so that you guys are aware. And I see over here, Abner, you showed up as well. Appreciate you guys all chiming in, saying hello, all that good jazz. We got a little bit more show. 2 matches. You see the Canutos embracing over there. That's some good stuff. Of course, his wife, Raquel, got a win in overtime just a few matches ago. It is always incredible to see them out and about. And Michael Ochoa, I saw your comment a little bit earlier. I appreciate you guys. I'm going to go ahead and post this on over right now. And main event up next. But as a reminder, tomorrow you will see us back here for another installment of the Bullpen. Myself, KEVIN SHERRILL, Tim Freeman. We'll have some more breakdown of this and all the biggest headlines in all of jiu-jitsu and MMA. So don't go anywhere. Jason Nolf making his way out, very chill. Isn't that the whole chill dude meme that we've been doing? Right? That's what the kids love right now. I'm just a chill guy. I cannot tell you how many times I have seen that meme pop up, though. It has been impressive to see how quickly that meme has reached a status where people say, it's overplayed. But it is what it is. As I'm watching this match, I will break it down for you as best I can. And then for the last match, Mikey Musumeci will have his opportunity to make his UFC PI debut. This is going to be a very, very good event. So if you guys have not seen him grapple yet, get ready. He should do pretty well here tonight, but the question of how well, uncertain. He is the first grappler to be signed to an exclusive UFC contract. It looks like they will be investing in more and more grapplers now in the future, but you're looking at this, and it is pretty even in terms of 28 and 28, and a weight is pretty much on point for both these gentlemen. Jason Nolf looking at 174, whereas Canuto took the limit at 175. We shall see how this plays for both of them. If you guys have questions, comments, concerns, hints, allegations, hit me up in the comment section. You got Nolf, you got Canuto, you got RAF ESPARZA coming to you live right now on all of the major channels for Grappling Hour and the Bullpen. Yes, Canuto is 2-0 here at the Fight Pass Invitational. Never short in excitement. It does look like Isaac Michele is in the background, as well as Cody Steele and 2 of the Tackett Bros. Of course, Cody Steele has been one of those individuals who no strangers to the success in his own right. He is somebody who just signed with the UFC after an incredible performance at the Dana White Contender Series, an emerging talent for them, and somebody who I think, and we hope, will do big things in the UFC now that he has a contract. But while we're here, what's up, Adrini? I don't even know. I'm not saying your name right, brother. That's on me. But Nolf, a 4-time NCAA champion at the Division I level, of course. And Raquel Canuto, very excited. Looks kind of nervous, but only because I know she wants good things for her husband, Renato, who there's a big uncertainty about this match. The question is, how is Nolf going to do? We saw that he was a big, fun addition to the Craig Jones Invitational. But now, Nolf, this is where it starts off in his world. Starting off on the feet. Oh. Okay. An intriguing approach there. I mean, normally Canuto's the one flying around on other people. Nolf kind of showing him he's not afraid to literally just somersault into him. The weird part, though, is for Nolf, the movement is usually one of the things that sets him apart, that makes him stand out. For Canuto, if he plays the role of somebody who lets him kind of make a mistake, putting him into that world really can be beneficial for him. So I'm not exactly sure how this goes, but Canuto kind of faking out a shot. It's kind of a nice little reversal of fortune for both of these boys. I think of the idea that Canuto wants to show him, like, hey, I don't mind standing up with you, because obviously that advantage is going to go to Jason. But I think the idea that for Jason, being willing to kind of trade some bad spots while standing up perhaps shows some confidence in the game that he has and the time that he's been working since in his grappling world. I mean, having that great performance over at the Craig Jones Invitational caught so many of us by surprise. It is intriguing to see what he can do here against one of our top tier performers. And in a short amount of time, you've seen Nolf work with some incredible training partners who've kind of fixed up part of his game. Oh, I think there might have been an eye poke there. We'll take a moment here to see if Canuto... Nope. He says he's good to go. There we go. Gentlemen, slapping a bump right there. And even if you look at the transitions, those lateral transitions by Jason Nolf, he's very quick. And again, he pushes Canuto with another thumb to the eye. I mean, the weird part about this for Nolf is he's trying to get a reaction out of Canuto. And in doing so, keeping his hands kind of out into the open. It is essentially creating the John Jones eye poke of doom that is happening here. So I'm not quite sure that's the intention. Let's see what the replay shows. Yeah, it does look like you got a little bit of a connection there. So I can see that happening. It's just the weird part for this, from my perspective, is for a wrestler that's trying to be aggressive and, oh, that's the contact. Oh, no. Oh, boy. Oh, his contact fell out of his eye. Oh, shit. Yeah, it's not great. Because, okay, let's talk that out. Now, is he taking out the other contact? Blah, blah, blah. Okay, let me talk to you about why this is so gross and why this is so terrible. If you've ever... What's up, Steve? If you've ever had a contact hit the mats are gross. You do not want to put staph back into your eye. And right now, it looks like Canuto's kind of trying to wash out the eye. Oh, shit, it is looking a little bloody, I think. I'm not... Blah. Oh, I don't want to see it go back in. I hope he has other contacts. Ugh. One thing about me, I hate things in eyes. That is why I have these. Oh, and he's back up and smiling. I would not be. I'd be super pissed. But... you know, you see a little slight swelling over of that. I think it's just all the more important of making sure you keep your thumbs on the inside when you are trying to get those grips. So, before any of this happened, we were trying to compliment the speed on which Nolf operates. Even when he's just trying to upset you and get a grip or move you to the side ever so slightly. A nice little grab there of the wrist, and man, well done there by Wolf. That just kind of literally splints down one Renato Canuto. And it says, just embrace the Oliveira strategy and go in blurry and blind. Well, you know, Charles Oliveira is in the audience. So if there is anybody you're going to play to, that is definitely somebody you should embrace on that side. So thank you for that one. 5 minutes, 19 seconds left in this match. Canuto has a grip on the back of the head. It is so interesting because I think for Canuto, I don't think he really wants to pull the guard here. It says follow-up interview with Renato for his staph eye infection. Yeah, don't love to see it. Oh, look at that. Now, you don't like the eye pokes here. Tit for tat. Good for Goose, good for Gander. What's up, Ruben Garcia? Thank you so much for the like. We appreciate you. You are watching us here at the Bullpen. Watch some UFC Fight Pass Invitational. Nice attempt there at a foot sweep by Nolf. Doesn't quite get it. Canuto still standing strong. 4:40 left to go as he tries to dart in for just a snatch single. Canuto, almost in a sacrifice, tries to keep up and make sure that he doesn't get taken down fully. But there is just an exchange of grips between both of these guys right now. Well done here. And, you know, this is an interesting little quandary that we have for this reason. Nolf, in his perspective, could accept the fact that you have Canuto at a guard pull, essentially, but he wants to keep it standing. Like, he almost is inviting Canuto to stand back up. It seems more like a designated showcase to just get some wrestling in. Canuto tries to wrestle up. It's probably going to be hard to pull off with Nolf, but I think we see now the strategy of Nolf, which is he's not really going to indulge a jiu-jitsu match. He started trying to point at Canuto when he was pulled guard and just kind of like saying, like, why are you down there? And it's like, well, that's what jiu-jitsu is, my guy. Like, that's kind of what we do here. And especially, you're not going to win. Yep, he lets him have the single here. He's looking to try and get a takedown. Canuto does backstep out of it. Ooh, nice front headlock there by Canuto. Doesn't quite trip him up enough. I mean, these are two excellent gentlemen at their respective fields. So you're really not going to get anybody that's just going to make a dumb mistake. Like, a lot of these things are more geared in the realm of how do you get Nolf to the ground to interact some of the jiu-jitsu? And at a certain point, how do you trick him into playing jiu-jitsu? Because at this point, it's pretty clear he doesn't want to. That's not to say the wrestling isn't exciting or that it can't be fun. It's just for our particular case of trying to get a submission here, Nolf's game is going to be a little bit more of the anti-jiu-jitsu game, where it's not necessarily based more on trying to get the submission rather than look good on the stand-up and get some takedowns, which he does get here as they run into the Fight Pass Invitational card. Canuto trying to keep this guillotine on, and yep, now they're going to kind of exchange in position. Canuto doesn't quite let him fully pass, and they're going to reset them. All right, so that is where we are right now. In terms of this match, there is 2 minutes and 13 seconds left to go. 2 minutes, 13 seconds left to go in this match, just to let you know. Canuto starting, and now they're going to have Jason Nolf with a negative point here. It could be for the fact that he is trying to deduce, or it could be for the eye pokes. I'm not quite sure exactly why we're going to deduct the point, but with 2 minutes left to go, this is going to be Canuto's best opportunity to get the submission here, because Nolf proved pretty savvy, at least at the Craig Jones Invitational, but that was a fight, or at least a grappling match, that was a little bit more of a stand-up. Canuto trying to get into this guillotine from this triangle, and you see Nolf, he's lifted him up, but there's really not much he can do. They can't really slam him down at this point. And Canuto, as they make essentially a warm-up drill out of it, where he's essentially stalking the mats with Canuto in hand. This essentially looks like something you do for conditioning, as all the referees are trying to make sure they don't go out and attack the audience. Canuto lets go from that position. And now they're going to meet Matt's side at the center one more time. Nolf is... He's going to take an... Wait, how many negatives? Hold up. Hey, wait, a -5? Okay. Is it because he was potentially locked in a submission and walked out? I mean, the good news is for a wrestler, it is the opportunity to get those points back if they go to overtime. I just feel like if we got to -5 points, it's kind of one of those things where you go, do we have to do an overtime? It's very fascinating to watch from this perspective. But -5 points for Jason Nolf it is. I don't know if that's a typo. It feels like it could be, but if it is not, yikes. 40 seconds left to go here with Canuto and Nolf. Canuto basically just giving him his back at this point. Yep, now is going to look to take the leg. A very smart move from Canuto, who is able to attack the legs here. This looks like a very unusual position for Nolf, who may not know what to do. And there's a toe hold here from Canuto, who's attacking the legs. And I think he wants to leave him with a parting gift. If he's able to go and attack this a little bit quicker, he might have something here as he's going to push that toward the butt. And I think Nolf is really doing a decent job of defending it. And by defending it, I mean he's just mostly keeping it intact. And Canuto's probably not going to be able to get the submission here as they run out of time. So that will take it. What time are you out? See, when you write it like that, I read it as, what time am I done? I'm currently about to see overtime. So they're in the process of letting them take a minute, talk to their corners. And you see Bo Nickel over to the side giving some cornering advice to Jason Nolf, who, I mean, I don't know exactly what the coaching advice is here. I think, if anything, it's probably a little bit more defensive. I'll let you know the minute we get back to the the overtime period. But they will go through a couple of these highlights here. And this is where things get interesting, because this rule set for the overtime with points does favor the wrestler. Having said that, said wrestler is down by -5. So 1 or 2 takedowns could get you back to a good position. The problem is, yeah, I think with him being in this position and him not being able to get out of it, it's almost like a ring out is what they kind of equated it to. It says you're about 10 to 20 seconds behind by video. You mean your video? Yes. If that is the case, dope. You could put it on pause too. Canuto does these like non-traditional guillotines, but they are usually meant to kind of make a wrestler feel out of place because the pass is good. So Nolf is not necessarily in major trouble here in most cases if he just continues to take the pass. It's just when somebody's around your neck like that and they have a good grip, even though you're not necessarily in submission danger per se, sometimes the newer, less experienced people don't feel that way. And you'll notice that's part of the reason why they haven't necessarily awarded the points here, because I think of the submission danger that they are awarding here for Canuto. But if he does pop out of it, it may be that they award points here that get him up to maybe a -3. That is correct. So now they are at a -3 points here for Jason Nolf, who still has some work to do. Because if you do get the takedown, you then have to work to pass the guard, or you have to invite Canuto to stand back up. Canuto does get back to a guard, which, okay, does not make it perhaps the most exciting thing to see, but it is where it is. And it says, got to learn that Von Flu or OSP. Yeah, I mean, the hard part for that is I think I try to teach that to my kids, but I do know it's not quite your day one stuff. And it seems like a lower percentage thing, but for wrestlers, it is probably a good thing. Yeah, I do tend to teach them that. Canuto signaling, signposting like he wants the left leg of Nolf. And if he can create the momentum, he could potentially get it over here. Nolf seems just slightly confused as to what Canuto is trying to do here. Canuto has that underhook, but Nolf is going to keep his base, and that is something that I think most grapplers who come from a wrestling background do know how to do instinctively. For a split second, though, Canuto was thinking about maybe taking that arm. And now almost had the leg. And Canuto is going to be real smart if he just wants to stay off of his back here. He doesn't have to re-engage him up at the top. And if that is the case, then he really has to put the pressure on Nolf to pass, which I think is a very heavy thing to do. The nice part about this, though, is you do have to appreciate Nolf for the fact that he is one of those competitors who has seen the challenge of jiu-jitsu, has a strong wrestling background, gave us an incredible match over at the Craig Jones Invitational, and seems to really want to try to do this. And I think in some sort of weird joke, I'm not quite sure what it was, but he appeared at the Flow Grappling Studios in a gi. So someone will explain to him that's a so-so joke, like 2 out of 10. But it does show that he is up for the challenge of trying this new world, which I can appreciate. Canuto now firmly has him inside of the guard. And from here, he's going to try to get out of it. It says Nolf versus Rotolo is one of my favorite matches at CJ. Absolutely it was. And Nolf tries to throw on a choke. Canuto says, get that shit out of here. And, you know, I think the weird part is for the Rotolo match, you know, I think the big thing that we wanted to see in terms of this one here tonight was that a one-off? Is that something we can expect to see? And if so, like, how committed is Nolf with his incredible background in wrestling, and how well does that translate here? Because he's looking for a choke that, in most cases, just isn't going to work against Canuto. You could see the possibility of him getting another takedown here, because it's not just a takedown. It's a takedown and a pass, or 2 takedowns. That would potentially give him the win over Canuto, but that's going to be a tough thing to make accomplished in just short amount of time. So the takedown possible as they kind of run out. Canuto just barely ahead by 3 points here, basically because of the penalties to Jason Nolf here. So -3 to 0. Canuto, I think, will be very smart about how he chooses to be here. In the sense, he does try to get this takedown, and they go straight into the cameraman and the audience, who seems fairly up for it. So we'll see exactly what they have to say here, but with time expiring, there's not much left for Nolf to be able to do, and you do get the sense with somebody like Canuto, he's getting slightly more frustrated. So the hybrid jiu-jitsu head of the household there may be able to eke out this from the negative points. And I think the weird part about this is he's kind of almost letting Nolf try to do crazy shit to him for the mere sake of entertainment. But Canuto's got to be careful here, as he did catch up. That did give him a takedown. Canuto now looking to try and take the back, and will end up just barely ahead. But Canuto shaking his head as his team gives him a nice round of applause there. I mean, ideal match? No. Did it happen? Yes. Did we learn anything? No. And you are seeing Nolf wondering if he got points off of that. I don't think there was enough time to say he got the control over it. So, Canuto, well, we'll see what they have to say. Catherine Cottle says, Raf, I don't know what you're talking about, but it's good to see you. Thank you for that. I don't mind that at all. In fact, that's completely fair. We're watching an event, and it is my hope to explain to the people what is happening. Canuto does pick up the win, 0 to -1. We'll see what he has to say. So I'm going to put you guys on a slight mute so that I can hear it here on the side. But a very interesting match. I don't know exactly how I feel about it just yet, but let's see what they have to say. He's saying, do not fucking run away, was what he was thinking. And BMAG is asking him to walk him through the triangle choke right now. He did just say not that good in regards to the triangle choke. So Canuto essentially apologizing for his performance, saying, could have been better. And Egghead did catch what I wasn't sure he was saying. I didn't want to put the accusation out there unless I was 100% sure. But it says, could have taken him down. He's not that good. Which, I mean, it's definitely possible. All things are possible through my gotch. But, not sure. I mean, Canuto has a very interesting style. I don't think he was going to take him down tonight. Could he have in a different scenario, a different night? Yeah, sure, of course. So I don't know. But an intriguing match nonetheless, and one that makes you wonder what exactly could happen in those scenarios. So we're about to get to our main event here in just a second, but I thank you guys all for watching. If you guys like the show, I hope you do. Go ahead, give us a like, a comment, a subscribe. This is the channel where I do all of my work. So you can see my interviews with people. They're usually free. If you guys so feel it, you can also drop a like, a comment, a subscribe. That always helps. But you can also go to patreon.com/grappling hour. You can see my interviews for just $5 a month for 30-day embargo before anybody else gets to see it. And for just a few extra dollars, we also do extra bonus content not available anywhere else. But that's patreon.com/grappling hour. So if you guys can do that, would appreciate it. It does mean the world to me, as this is something I do out of love. I love doing these shows, and I think that you guys enjoy them. That has been the ability I've gotten for the many years I have been doing this broadcast. So every little bit helps. And if you guys have questions, comments, concerns, hints, allegations, hit me up in the comments section. We are about to see our main event here. Mikey about to take the mats, and Machado. That is coming up next. I'm going to change the branding here just to make sure we get this on lock. But this is your main event here, people. This is finding out if the UFC is going to make good on their investment with Mikey Musumeci or Michi or whatever people say. It's impossible to always figure it out, because I hear everybody pronounces it a different way. So I try to stay consistent with mine, which is mostly just Mikey Musumeci. But I've seen many people say it different ways. So this is your main event coming up right now at the UFC Fight Pass Invitational. This is the 9th installment of it. Again, my name is RAF ESPARZA. You can catch me at Grappling Hour, where I do all my interviews. And we also do another show called The Bullpen with my friends Tim Freeman and KEVIN SHERRILL, who are incredibly fun people to work with, and I love doing the show with them. It is an incredible, incredible show, and we do them. We're doing one tomorrow on Friday, and I believe it's going to be at, what is it, 12:30 Best Coast time, so keep an eye out for that one. And I see a note here, Mikey by Scorpion Deathlock. Well, Wonder Falcon, if you're talking about Scorpion Deathlock, are you talking about the Sting version? I prefer the Sharpshooter, which is Bret Hart. That is the superior version. Any other Scorpion Deathlock I do not recognize, because Scorpion Deathlock is a pro wrestling move. And I see a note here that says Darth Rigatoni. This is intriguing because I don't know what to expect. I'm not listening to Gordon's commentary tonight, but I cannot imagine that Gordon is too pleased with Mikey, given the fact that Mikey was saying stuff about people with steroids. And here's a weird part about this whole thing. I love that people who do take steroids act like they have the higher ground on this whole thing. Like, they're like, man, how dare he say that about me? And it's like, he's welcome to say whatever he wants to say. I think the weird common consensus that is part of the argumentation here is that Gordon is trying to argue that jiu-jitsu allows steroids like they're legal, thus why not do them? Which is kind of a weird argument, but it is what it is. And there's almost a growing amount of people in jiu-jitsu who think, yeah, why not? Some of them probably want to be on steroids. Some of them probably don't care, or they're just tired of it. But in order to do something realistically with steroids in jiu-jitsu, you would have to do testing, and I don't know that that's something that people want to spend the money on here in jiu-jitsu. Having said that, it will be an interesting dynamic where if in the UFC, they have some standards for performance-enhancing drugs, even though the UFC now is kind of regulating that on their own. And in jiu-jitsu, if you were to test most of our big athletes, you probably would be out of big athletes. So, just saying. It's an intriguing proposition. Nonetheless, it is where we're at. All right, you got Mikey. You got his opponent, one Felipe Machado. This is about to go down for you right now. If you are tuning in, thank you again. My name is RAF ESPARZA. Mikey essentially taking the crane kick approach to popping at him. I mean, I'll say this about Mikey. He is incredibly effective, and it's almost like he sucks you into his world. He's already working on probably trying to get this Mikey lock, which I think would be the statement he wants to make here, which looks like a knee bar, but if he gets the grip towards his face, Felipe is in some trouble here. However, he makes his stand back up. Mikey now may go back on over to just a regular straight ankle and maybe looking to transition to a heel hook. Felipe has to be very careful where he goes next, but looks like he was trying to take the back there. It's a dicey sort of transition. Mikey still trying to take that leg, going to a heel hook now, and still has the grip, so still in a good spot here. The question I have is, does Slap Fight or whatever it is have PED testing? You know, I don't pay attention enough to know that one, unfortunately. I wish that I had a better answer for you, but I will defer to the people who watch that. Unfortunately, I think they watch Rumble TV, so those would be better suited to give you an answer. I'm just a dude trying to ignore it in this world. Felipe Machado trying to yawn off of it, maybe playing to the audience, might have missed his opportunity to unyawn his way out of it. Instead, intriguing, almost used it to pass that guard. Doesn't quite get it. Mikey grabs the other leg to make sure he can't posture back up. Now, as a result here, Mikey looking to see which of the legs he wants to attack. Intriguing conundrum here as Mikey's trying to bridge up, attacking the leg, seeing if he can get a bend here. Felipe not necessarily showing anything yet out of it. Once again, probably wants to come through the back way. And Mikey still has that grip on that leg. It's just an intriguing thing because Mikey did such a level job with the 1FC Corporation. I don't know what exactly he will do in the UFC. It's very fascinating to see how quickly the UFC was like, we're going to go all in on Mikey, and he'll be our first. And it's not to say he's not a talented person. It's not to say he doesn't have a lot of fans or there's something there. But to have him be the first signee of the UFC does show that they probably want to put an investment in. There's a reap here by Mikey, by the way. And Felipe thought maybe he can re-attack it. Don't know if I love this from Felipe. He does seem like a step behind on these, though. The difference is before he was trying to escape out of them. Now he's trying to counter off. And I don't know that he's going to be able to counter Mikey, at least off of these initial entries. Now Mikey get a little bit stronger of a grip. And Machado now kind of in a little bit of a double trouble here. Mikey has both legs. underscooped here by his arms. Felipe is able to get his right leg out. Mikey goes over for the reap, looks to see if he can get that heel hook position. Machado, not quite out of the woods yet. I mean, that left leg has been stuck in a Mikey grip for a minute, and Machado, to his credit, doesn't seem to be sweating any one of these attacks by Mikey just yet. Mikey looks like Felipe was trying to counter off of it, but lost the grip very quickly in that transition. Now, on a wrestle up, Mikey comes up, but you almost get the sense that Mikey plays better from just playing off of his back. We'll see how he's playing off of his passing, but you get the sense he's zeroing in on trying to get one of these legs. Nonetheless, we have less than 3 minutes and 30 seconds left to go in this match, and it has been one-sided in terms of who has been trying to attack more, and it's been all Mikey Musumeci thus far into the match. And Mikey now looking to maybe set up a little bit of a Darce, or at least containing from this side control. He has some time to work from here. 3:11 on the clock. Thought about taking the back. Machado didn't give him an opportunity, and now gets back up. Mikey is going to play on bottom again. So this begs a few questions. One, what if Mikey does not get a submission here tonight? How much is the pressure on him to be the first UFC performer and not deliver on his first night? Two, what is going to be said between Mikey and Gordon? If anything at all, and Mikey's looking to try and rip part of that leg off of one Felipe Machado, who grabs the back of the neck, stands back up. It could be a temporary solution. Mikey uses a little bit of that guard to try and give him some space. Machado tries to counter off of it, doesn't get anything from it. Mikey goes right back to work on that left leg, which has been the entire story thus far in. It says, Gordon's been saying nothing but great things about Mikey. I mean, I'll say this. When you're on commentary, the job is usually to at least say things that happen that are truthful. One thing I've seen about Gordon on the broadcast is he will usually use it as an opportunity to dictate whatever narrative he wants to say. So I think it could just be to get through what he needs to get through, but I wouldn't be surprised if there's something a little snippy at some point. Or at least a little quote unquote sassy. All right, now Mikey again from bottom looking to take that grip, an underhook on the leg. Likely looking to get a knee bar of some sort. Now going to the straight ankle attack. Doesn't have it still. I mean, I'm intrigued to see what's going to happen if we go to overtime here, because now you're going to get the sense that they're going to have to be a little bit of a wrestle up. Not to say that Mikey is not capable of getting a takedown here, but I do wonder if that is the approach. But Mikey might be trying to make short work of Felipe Machado here. Look to attack the legs. There's 57 seconds. They're going to reset them back to the center of the mats. Time does stop. But I do wonder that. I do wonder what the pressure is for Mikey. Does he need to perform here tonight? And we don't know what the details of those exclusive contracts are, honestly. Now, granted, we have not heard the official words being said by anybody else on this broadcast. We haven't heard all the interviews. But as of right now, I have not heard of anybody else getting an exclusive contract with the UFC. Craig Jones very famously told people, don't sign an exclusive contract. And it begs the question, are we talking about the UFC here? Is the UFC a partner that would be interested in working with the Craig Jones Invitational? Or is the Craig Jones Invitational happy being independent? Will they play ball for Craig Jones Invitational too? It just seemed very curious that Craig Jones would say, don't sign an exclusive contract when an event like this that's bragging about having an exclusive contract signee is very prominent and in the ether for the grappling community. So lots to discuss on that one. What is up, Doreen? What is up, Jaime? Good to see you guys. It looks like we're about to go some overtime right now with Mikey and Felipe, as there is no submission in regulation. So both gentlemen will get a few seconds to talk with their corners, and Felipe trying to hype up the crowd, but I don't know that they're super responsive. I think they thought it was an okay regulation period. Nothing much really jumped at me. I mean, Mikey obviously very much on the attack. What's up, Gabe? Hope all is well, brother. This is an intriguing match in the sense that for Mikey, he does look like somebody who wants to attack, is trying to find the finish. Felipe, very game, was in some interesting spots. I don't know that they would have been 100% submission finishes, but they definitely looked like they were not fun to entertain by any means. It says, what's going on, Raf? Definitely a lot of growth from the old days of Metamoris. No kidding, my friend. But yet, some themes very much still in play. Who knew that all these years later, we would be talking about exclusive contracts and people are saying, I don't know, maybe. Why not? When Metamoris suggested it, you couldn't be further from anybody saying, oh, I don't think we need to do that. Especially when they try to sign Gary Tonin to an exclusive contract. Mikey pulls guard first. That'll be intriguing. Okay, crazy call, but am I wrong to characterize so many Brazilian competitor styles as stay on the edges and keep disengaging until hopefully I can find an opening and get a ref decision because of quote-unquote activity? I don't know that that's necessarily inaccurate. What I would say is, if anything, it means that they're the people who read the rules. Like, they're the people who, when they play a board game, probably spend about 10 minutes figuring out what they can complain about if something does not go their way. What I find more intriguing is, I think it's usually a recognition that they don't have a strategy that's necessarily going to get them the win for a hard opponent other than gaming the system. And if that's the case, I don't know if I hate it or if I partially respect it. The difficult part is, as a viewer, an audience member for something like this, and an occasional producer, I think, it's not the best. Also, who's thumbs downing that? Are you thumbs downing my opinion or what Egg put? Because if you're thumbs downing for something Egg put, I feel that's unfair. But if you're thumbs downing because of what I'm saying, I'm okay with that. So just say what you need to say in the comment section, so that way I can know exactly what you're thinking. But I would say this. I hate it as a viewer. Yeah, of course. You're entitled to that. And I think that's a perfectly logical complaint. Mikey looked like he was going to try and take the back there. Mikey now has 2 points. But Felipe, he can still catch up. It's 2 minutes and 54 seconds left to go. Although, if you're the person who downvoted it and you were holic and you were mad because I was talking about Metamoris, that's okay. I can understand that too. Nonetheless, it is very funny when you just see something on the side be like, womp, womp. And I go, what is that for? Oh, we're back up to a thumbs up. Yay, we corrected it. Oh. It says, I'm used to thumbs downing my thoughts and sensitive competitors and fans. I mean, that's fine. I don't really care. I just like calling it out. It's fun to me. It's part of the sport and spectator thing. People sometimes forget that we'll see their comments and they're like, wait, oh no, they're talking about me. It's like, yes, we are not afraid to name names here on this show. Nonetheless, Mikey's still looking for some submission finishes, being ahead 2-0. I don't know that I'm going to see Felipe really try to get something done here, honestly. I think he's having a hard puzzle to try and figure out, and I think the story is going to be Mikey's probably going to have to try and explain why he didn't get it. Mackenzie Womble, I have fat thumbs. Mackenzie, it's okay. Thank you so much for correcting that. We appreciate you. I will tell you this. I have accidentally thumbs down people's broadcasts before and then been like, I'm so sorry. I've had the fat thumb issue as well. Nonetheless, thank you for watching. We appreciate you. Okay, minute 19 left to go. Mikey still trying on that left leg, throwing the kitchen sink at it, putting every part of his bicep into it, not getting anything. Felipe doesn't care, says take the leg with you. It is interesting to see Boop's garage. I don't know what the fuck that means. I know that Mikey trains out of a garage. I don't know what Boops means. Is it like an anime thing? Because when I hear Boops, I think it's like boop. You know, like you do that to somebody. Like in Superbad. I too have fat thumbs. I want an old BlackBerry with real keyboard keys. I don't mind that, but when I'm typing out shit on my phone, I do notice that occasionally the swipe feature tries to get me to say certain words that I go, swipe, I have never said that word. What is wrong with you? I like this kind of like little breakdown here, the little leg crossing. Keep somebody from getting back up. That's a good little thing here from Mikey. For a split second, Felipe thought about trying to come up on top, but he's in a little bit of a Mikey Musumeci trap. I mean, if anything, Mikey's kind of like a little Venus flytrap. He's not quite able to get something here. Felipe trying to leave a parting gift for Mikey. And Mikey's... Oh, okay. I think he was looking for a handout. Didn't quite see that Felipe was trying to get himself to standing back up. Well, this will be interesting. Mikey's looking pretty exhausted here. And has a black eye, which I don't quite understand. Oh, Felipe's limping off that leg. Well, yeah, no shit, dude. You probably ate about 12 different submissions. Felipe was looking like he already wants to walk off the mats, and Brandon wasting no time to talk with Mikey. I'll give you a recap here in just a second. So, okay, 1 second. Okay, that was as weird as I thought it was going to be. What do I say here? Well, listen. Any athlete who is, oh God, event schedule, March, June, July, September, October, December. Oh, Jesus. Well, let's see what they have to say about this. Oh, Jesus. So no dates here, just literally some random months. Okay. What the fuck is Gordon wearing? Jesus fucking Christ. Somebody needs to make Gordon wear a fucking tie, iron out his fucking shirt, make him wear, like, make him tuck it in. He looks like the person who shows up at the restaurant that you make wear a fucking jacket. Ugh, it's so bad. Because you have TJ and Brandon who look great in their suits. Okay, where am I beginning? Let's start with Mikey. Mikey obviously is very disappointed in his performance. Any athlete who has wanted to perform better definitely seems like they wish they could have given a better performance, so he was a little complaining about that. Benjamin asked, just jumped in, how was the match so far? It wasn't super great. Mikey was definitely trying to get an attack. He was trying to finish the match as much as he could. Felipe likely was a little bit staggered after. He was trying to hobble off of the mat, so that was what it was. He was disappointed in his performance, and this is Mikey I'm talking about. I don't know that I was disappointed in his performance as much as it's difficult to be entertained by that kind of a match. I'm not sure it's all Mikey, but Felipe, if he was hobbling off, was definitely putting as best he could. It was a weird style matchup, honestly. So there is that. I think the weirdest part about it is the post-match interview with Mikey just felt like he was too emotion-filled. It's the kind of interview that you immediately think, I don't want to talk to you anymore. Like if you're an interviewer and you do cage interviews, it just seems too raw for the athlete. I'm not sure how in control of his emotions he is at this point. So it makes it seem like you're almost making them feel bad to do the interview. That's never how you want to feel as an interviewer. But more than that, it was him just saying, like, I didn't get the job done. I'll hopefully go back and try and be better. Sorry, I didn't get the submission. But then even kind of signposting and saying, I had 7 fights fall through this year. I feel beat up. I feel exhausted. Like, I worry about the mental health of Mikey. I hope he's okay. Because then you also have to figure this was also a topsy-turvy year where after he drops out of CJI, which unfortunate, but I kind of thought he might do. Then he has Cade drop out of his match. And then there's that whole one fiasco that happened. And I feel like that, if anything, is responsible for him being here because it felt like he was especially going to be well treated by the 1FC organization. But when that match fell through, he was kind of like, you know what? Screw you guys. Why should I stay? So, you know, kind of tough. Nonetheless, I just, I don't want to get too much more. I'll come back to that. It says 2 subs out of all the matches. That's why you only showed 2 highlights. I want the FBI to succeed, but I want to see submissions. I don't even mind submissions not happening if the matches are fire. But even in a match that didn't necessarily have a submission like Canuto and Nolf, it was a weird match. So it didn't necessarily feel like it earned its spot. You saw submissions. You saw Gracie over Chambers. Maggie got her submission. I thought Damon got one as well. But they were mostly in overtime. Raquel got one as well. But in regulation, it was a little bit tougher to try and get. It says, sorry, there might have been 4. There you go. So did he win or do they do draws? So Mackenzie, Mikey ended up winning via points in the overtime region. So he didn't get submission in regulation. They went to overtime and he was ahead by what I believed was 2 points in overtime. I think that's where they ended up. But it was an all Mikey attack show. So at least it wasn't like a crazy out of the blue, you didn't expect it sort of thing. It's more so just it was a little disappointing from the expectation standpoint. The reason why I have this sense, if you would, of concern is that given Mikey's spot in the UFC now, being the first grappler to get signed, no one else has been mentioned as being signed. Already putting this pressure on himself, I'm sure. I wonder if it doesn't manifest and people aren't talking about this, if that puts more on him. I don't know. It just didn't seem like a good interview to see at the end of the night. Kind of left us all in a little bit of a... Gotta hit the rack. Had fun with you, RAF. Thanks, bud. I appreciate you, Egg. Thank you for sticking with us. Not everybody does. Take that, Tim. Take that, KEVIN SHERRILL. Not winner of this year. Nonetheless, here's what I would say. The last events of the year will be the Jiu-Jitsu Overdose. That's going to be happening within the next week. I appreciate you. Thank you, Wonder Falcon. And if you do like this, like, comment, share, subscribe, all that sort of stuff. Follow if you're on the Twitch. I appreciate you guys for dropping in. It really does mean a lot. But what I would say is, yeah, it's going to be the last events of the year. So we'll see how the year ends up. We have some friends who are competing on the upcoming EBI, Combat Jiu-Jitsu, Medusa, end of the year Jiu-Jitsu Overdose. The little bit of a Woodstock that is happening. Oh, Wonder Falcon, you did start following us. So look at that. Right here, right here. Cheers to you. Toast. We do a toast for those who get finishes within regulations, so we'll do one for you. Cheers to you, Wonder Falcon. All right. To those of you still watching, tomorrow we will be back with another installment of the Bullpen that's happening at 12:30 Best Coast time here in Los Angeles. Other time zones, 2:30 Central-ish. Other time zones, 3 p.m. Eastern. All that good stuff. But I'll be joined by KEVIN SHERRILL and Tim Freeman, who I was here with a little bit earlier. We'll go over all the action from tonight, as well as who's number one. Other big jiu-jitsu headlines that we didn't even get to tonight, including Gordon Ryan alluding to the fact that he won't be at ADCC, ? Huh. Intriguing. Nonetheless, like I said, if you like my stuff, you can go check me out at patreon.com/grappling hour. That is where you can see the exclusive interviews that do not air anywhere else. But if you pay just the $5 version, just the $5, you see my interviews 30 days before anybody else. And that in itself helps the show. So I appreciate you guys. I think that's going to do it for us here at the show. My name is RAF ESPARZA. It has been a great day for grappling. We'll see you back on the mats.